This holiday season, every time you purchase a 12-ounce SnortBucks coffee, a portion of the proceeds will be given to the PENE Foundation, the world's premier charity dedicated to helping down-on-their-luck content creators pay their daily bills.
I need that money. I really do. I need that money to pay my bills, the electric bill, the internet bill.
So stop by your local SnortBucks today and help send some PENE their way.
Hopefully that transition works out a little bit better. If not, we have options and whatnot, something that Phil knows very little about. But it's a work in progress. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. This is DSP News, the unreliable ones. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the newsroom and to the storefront. And welcome to the Goutopia News Network, your unreliable source for DSP News. This is the Snort Report, brought to you by SnortBucks Coffee Company, the best beverage company. Let's go. Season's greetings and happy holidays, ladies and gentlemen. Even though Thanksgiving's not necessarily here yet, it's feeling pretty festive here in Goutopia for various reasons and whatnot, and why not continue to spread the cheer? Now, I don't know at this particular point how many videos or broadcasts or whatever you want to call them that are out, but you know, hopefully they're out there. Hopefully you guys are enjoying them. Feedback is appreciated, so on and so forth, as well as criticism. Womp womp. So there's plenty of that can be thrown around. But hopefully things are getting out there and whatnot. Thanks to everybody who helps me do these. Thank you to everybody who supports the content and whatnot. I very much appreciate it. And you know, cheers to 2025. But we're not there yet, and I'm not one to sit there and count my eggs before they hatch. So let's go ahead and get into what our current situation is. We're going to be talking about today DSP hanging out with Kino Casino. This is back in like July, actually July 31st. If you give me just a second. I'm a professional, not a professional. I just play one on YouTube. This is from July 31st of this year, 2024. Darksydephil spends time with Kino Casino and crossover, and does a crossover on Review Tech USA in June, and the June the King documentary. There's a lot to be said about that, especially given our current timeline. I don't want to ruin it for people because I plan to do something on that later, obviously. But especially if you guys are up with the current time. If you're up with the current timeline as it pertains to Kino Casino and what seems to be the implosion of that group, which is just a byproduct of dealing with Darksydephil. In any case, let's go ahead and speak on a little bit of that in one of our favorite segments. Let's go ahead and just change our scenery here. Let's see. Womp. Here we go. You know, SnortBucks Coffee Company. You guys know that. Holiday flavors. Fantastic. And whatnot. And, you know, it's salty as fuck. And let's go ahead and get into one of our favorite segments of the broadcast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my TED Talk. So, back in July, July 31st, DSP had reached out to Kino Casino and or vice versa. And they were going to work on some collaborations or whatnot. But before we even get there, DSP had to go through the courting process. So that's him essentially sitting in their chat for like 6 hours in the middle of the night, you know, the typical Jen and Twitter time, hanging out with them and trying to prove his worth to those people, which is funny because he had said earlier on that he wasn't interested in drama, that he was proud of himself, that it was a drama-free year, womp womp, and you know, he didn't want to engage in that shit. It's one of the reasons why he didn't want to go and do LolCal Live, but he didn't mind jumping in bed with Kino Casino. And as it pertains to Kino Casino, without completely ruining it, they are really just a byproduct of the cursed monkey claw, the cursed pig hooves, if you will, the cursed snort sacks, if you will. Pick up a silent weapon on that one. Of being in bed with Darksydephil. There's, whether if you believe in pig luck or not, is completely and utterly up to you. But to say that, you know, anybody who gets in bed with DSP, anybody who associates with DSP does not come out of it clean is something that's tried and true. It's been proven more times over than pretty much any suspicious, I should say, let's not say suspect, but suspicious situation that Darksydephil has revolving around him. Detractors, trolls, haters, and critics have been victims of it. People in his own life, John and Howard. I would say Scott and T, but sadly they're no longer with us. Panda, all of them. Now, all of those people bounced back, except for T and Scott. They didn't make it. Excuse me. They didn't make it. But most of the people that DSP has been associated with bounced back. But at the same time, it's really crazy that so many people can have an affiliation with this one person and get fucked for it royally. It makes no goddamn sense. It's the most ridiculous, unfathomable bullshit that I've ever seen. Like, he deserves his his throne next to Chris Chan. Chris Chan is obviously the king of catastrophes, right, and calamities. And DSP is the queen, for sure. They both have earned that shit. That whole bullshit with the Chris Chan and that fucking medallion, that's just cursed. I swear to God it's cursed. I swear on everything that's just cursed. Being affiliated with Darksydephil is equally as cursed. And no one's absolved of that. You know what I'm saying? Whether that shit affects your way of thought, your behavior, all of that shit. No one does detractor content and walks out this shit the same way they walked in. Anybody who tells you different is lying to you. You know what I'm saying? I can tell you that. I can tell you that admittedly. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, there's been like, I definitely, especially if I go back and listen to my early fucking store reports or DSPNEWS and listen to myself now, yeah, there's definitely a difference. Same thing like when Tevin started his campaign after DSP had him deplatformed. And then you listen to Tevin now, there's a complete difference. Now, keep in mind, this all comes back from growth and stuff too. Life comes at you fast. But you can't say that DSP hasn't had some effect in some way, shape, or form. And the volume of that varies. One of the undercutting things that most people don't talk about in the DSP community is paranoia. You know what I'm saying? Which happens a lot and is demonstrated a lot in some of the conversations some of these fellow detractors have with each other for various reasons. I'll speak on that at another time. But it's one of the byproducts of this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't bring a positive out of a negative. And no matter how the person presents themselves to you and presents the content, it has an effect on them in some way, shape, or form. That's why people take breaks from this shit. That's why people advocate for other people to take breaks from this shit. The Kino Casino is no different. You know what I'm saying? So it's very fascinating how that's happening. And I'm just waiting for DSP to start throwing them under the bus. He's kind of already did it with the white nationalist shit. Let's just see what happens as time goes on. But anyway, let's go ahead and jump back a little bit to July of earlier this year, July of 2024, and DSP trying to court them, was happy that people were treating him nicely, like a human being. People saw value in what he does and who he is, and how quickly he was quick to get on his knees and suck dick to these people who don't even know him, right? And the irony of it, the irony of it all is DSP had it in his head, and we'll see this as we go along, that these guys may screw him over or they may abandon him. But while they were there, he needed to hold on to them and keep them in pocket as much as he could. Hence the reason why he kept harassing them for various reasons and all of the other bullshit that entails. And it's really a pathetic attempt to not make friends. I think he wants to make friends, but he's too paranoid. He doesn't trust anybody. But to keep people around him to shield him, to protect him. You know what I mean? I know there's a thesis out there, not a thesis. There's a thought out there that DSP is looking for acceptance. He is, but not in the way that people think. DSP is not looking for really acceptance. He's looking for recognition. He's looking to be praised. The thing about just finding a group that will accept him isn't good enough for him. He needs to be praised. He needs to be elevated above all. We actually kind of saw a lot of that with WWE Champions before that shit actually got exposed. When he was in those groups on Discord and on Talk app or Line app or whatever, and he was trying to boast about his knowledge in the game and how to play it and how to do this and how to do that. You never see him do that in Street Fighter. You never see him do that in fighting games at all. He's quick to try to tell you what his quote-unquote history is, but he can't really tell you anything. He can't explain a combo to you, for example. He can't explain why the combo works. He can't explain why the combo doesn't. He can't explain to you frame data. He doesn't understand footsies. He doesn't understand any of that shit outside of instinctively. He can't break it down into like a technical manner and shit. Let me give you an example. So when you watch Alt, right, from that being said, big ups to them, he approaches this situation like a teacher. He approaches it like a teacher who's lighthearted. He's trying to give you the information, but he's trying to give it to you in a very digestible, a very calm, cool, and relaxing type way. Why is he doing that? He's doing that so you can retain it, to be honest with you. Because the more comfortable that the student is, right, the more eager they'll be to learn. The more eager that person's eager to learn, the more they're likely to retain the information, right? I don't think I'm blowing up his spot. I think anybody who's followed that being said understands that. And that is one of the reasons why that being said works. Because you have him that comes from that type of environment, and that's what he brings to the table. You have Sam, who's incredibly laid back and chill and has some pretty good insight. You've got Steve of the Dead, who kind of comes at it from almost like a psychological standpoint, trying to give you some more nuance into DSP's behavior. And then you've got you've got our boy Meerkat, who's an absolute fucking savage, but yet it doesn't come across as A-logish. It's entertaining. It's funny. He makes a point and he hits it. He doesn't waste your time with bloat. He gives, you know what I'm saying? He gives you the information. He gives it to you straight. It's hilarious, and it sticks with you. It's what makes that dynamic so good, to be honest with you, and why it's as successful as it is. Now, with DSP and with Kino Casino, he was looking to basically float off of those guys. Those guys were merely the chariot horses, and they were supposed to drag his gouty ass across the fucking finish line. Whereas that being said, are four guys contributing to a cause. DSP is the cause. And Kino Casino was supposed to take him to new heights and supposed to present all this stuff to him while also shielding him, while also protecting him, while also building up his confidence. All things that you guys have seen up to this particular point. It was never a friendship. It was never really a partnership. It was a charity case. It was, this is what the internet owes me, and I'm going to get that through you guys. And I think PPP peeped that, but at the same time, PPP and Andy had their own ulterior motives. Didn't really pan out when they couldn't get the thing with Mutahar, couldn't get the thing with Medicare. You know, there's things that fell apart, and probably for good, in a good way, at least for DSP. And this way, Medicare and Mutahar didn't waste their time. But we can get into that as we move further along into the saga leading up to Goutness, which I think I've got finishing touches on the videos that will be used in that. Production should start rather soon, so hopefully it all comes out on time. Yay! So with that being said, thank you guys for all coming to my TED Talk. And let's go ahead and let's set up the board. Let's go ahead and actually move into what our situation is in the video at hand. Or let's stop all the talking and get to the talking. Ladies and gentlemen, let's see here. First of all, let's see if I can find the video. That would be helpful. that would be helpful. Let's see here.
Yesterday, now.
Put your ass up. All right, there we go. There's our video. Big ups to the homie Diggs, as well as Raw Phil, Dark Dave Mirrors. Big ups. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are here with this clip was brought to us by Raw Phil. Big ups to Diggs though for pulling it out. Let's see here. DSP spends time at Kino Casino and crossover on Review Tech USA June the King documentary. This is from July 31st of 2024, our current year of gout and failure. Happy holidays. And yeah. Let's go ahead and get started. And as you guys know, the first couple of rounds of SnortBucks is on me. Yeah. All right, here we go.
Today, now. Last night, after all my streams, after spending some time with my wife, and we went to bed, my wife had to go to bed early because she had work early today. I had a little bit of extra time, and I just so happened to jump onto the Kino Casino stream over on Kick to see what those guys were up to.
How did you just happen to jump onto the Kino Casino stream after your wife went to bed? That seems strange. It's not like you guys spent time with each other, so I don't understand why we felt the need to do that. But then again, I suspect, as most people do, that the majority of his drinking and gambling happens after Cat goes to bed. So for some of you out there who are wondering, do you think Cat has a real clear understanding of who DSP is and what her habits, what his habits are? No, they don't. They're two people who clearly have no clue exactly who the fuck the other one is. This is all a marriage of convenience and nothing else. It's a partnership. It's an arrangement. And that's all it's ever going to be, to be honest. Because what spouse wouldn't be concerned with their other spouse having a drinking problem, having a gambling addiction, the other spouse having psychological issues that clearly need to get worked out, who clearly needs a support system around her? Well, around him too. Like, they both kind of need, not even kind of need, they both need therapy. They both need a support structure around them, a real one. Not the cuckish shit that DSP deals with, and not all the DoorDash that fucking Cat can eat that DSP throws at her. They need outside people that can really sit down and talk to them and give them help. And neither one of them has it. Hence the reason why Cat's weight spiraled the way it did. The reason why DSP is getting worse and worse psychologically by the day. It's all cause and effect. And it's all fun and games and everything. Don't be wrong. Laugh at it. I'm going to. But if you want to look at it from the human aspect, you got two people spiraling their way to hell. It's quite literally a race to the bottom. Sad part is, neither one have realized that they've already hit rock bottom.
And by the way, no, I don't have a code. Oh, man. No, they didn't send it or nothing. Shoot. I was really hoping I would have it today to give it out, but I don't have it yet. Nope. All right. Well, I'll check later today then. Sucks. Yeah. Yeah, my wife had to go to bed early last night because, you know, she had to go to work today early. But it was only around, like right around midnight, I want to say, Pacific time. So, you know, we were in bed, and she went to sleep, and I was like, well, let's see what these guys are doing.
That's funny. You're up all the way till midnight, but yet we can't edit videos. We can't do this. We can't do that. We can't even prepare for the next day's stream. Right? Excuse me. We can't even take a few minutes to do that shit. But you guys can just stay up till midnight? And then he says midnight is early. How the fuck is midnight early? The reason why he talks like that is because he's still literally going off of East Coast time. That's the reason why he eats dinner so early. They eat dinner around like 4 o'clock, 4:30, something along those lines. Which is stupid early, you know what I'm saying? And whatnot. But then again, on the East Coast, that would be what, 7 o'clock, 7:30? So, you know, womp womp. So keep that in mind. Noon is early. Yeah, I mean, midnight's early. Yeah, well, I guess because it'd be 9 o'clock where you used to be. So, yeah, I guess it would be pretty early.
And I turned on their show, and they were doing their thing. You know, they were talking about a bunch of stuff I know absolutely nothing about. They were talking about iDubbbz, and they were talking about some other guy I never heard of. But it's fun because...
Oh, and to further reinforce this one-sided relationship with Kino Casino, is look at the background that you see in front of you now, right? This is July 31st of 2024. And look at it now in November. He literally commandeered their entire shit for the most part. I mean, it's lazy. It's a gouty version of it all. Excuse me. But that's exactly what he did. He completely and utterly absorbed aspects of not only the way they present Kino Casino, or at least how he interprets it, but he also he's taken on some of their cadence. Meaning, like, how they choose to solicit donations, how they try to laugh at stuff and make it seem like, you know, they get the joke or whatever, they get the memes and all this shit. He's commandeered all of that. Just like how he's commandeered aspects or traits from people he used to be associated with. John, Howard, Panda, so on and so forth. And that's kind of what he is. And that's what I try to express to you. That DSP is an NPC. He's a lump of clay. The dude doesn't have a personality. That's why he's so quick to pick up and take on traits of other people. Like, think about back when Turkey Tom's documentary came out, and the term milked was being used in that, and that's all DSP ran with. Like, that was the brand new word of the month or for the following months, up until he had met Kino Casino, and then he started using felted, which these are terms that have been around forever. You know what I'm saying? Why is he now just picking it up? Why is he now using it? And in most situations, he was misusing it. It makes you think.
When I'm over there, like, listen, again, I know these guys are not my biggest fans. They've made fun of me just like everyone else over the years. They razz me. They give me the business when I do something stupid, which everyone has the right to do. Correct?
Everybody has the right to do. Keep that in mind.
But at the same time, I feel like these guys treat me more fairly because they look at all the other people out there who are doing awful things, and they look at me and they're like, why does everyone razz and kind of like hate on Phil when he doesn't really do anything like these other people?
What a pathetic sucker for love type mentality. You know what I mean? And yet again, even lamer is, oh, I'm not as bad as the next guy, so why do I have to keep getting shit? You're still bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't really matter. You're still bad. You're still an awful person, and people, as you just said, have the right to have criticisms of you. So why should they have to move on? Right? It's like Josh with Kiwi Farms and shit. Oh, well, I don't like exactly how all you guys are acting in the DSP thread, so migrate off to other places on the forum. Wait, what sense does that make? If you don't like how these guys are acting on the DSP thread, and if you think that it's cancerous, you think that it's parasitic, you think that it's vile, why would you want to spread this quote-unquote perceived disease onto other aspects of your forum? Did anybody ever think about that? I never understood that when Josh was basically saying, hey, you guys need to go off and do other stuff. You guys need to go ahead and show me other funny stuff on the thread. Even though you have full access to what these guys are looking at, it's clear that these guys watch or follow other things besides Darksydephil. So why do you need them to go off and find funnier stuff for you? What sense does that make? And then you went ahead and got on certain members because they make money off their channels. But theoretically, couldn't someone look at, oh, you want us to go off and basically farm content, farm other funny content on your site so you can use that for your show, Mad at the Internet later? So weren't you couldn't someone say that you were using people on your forum in the DSP thread to find other content for you? So it's weird. It was almost like he wanted people from the DSP thread to A-log other threads, either to make it more interesting or to help him farm for content. But that's weird to me because if you say that the DSP thread always causes you so much problems and always causes you so much stress, why would you want them to migrate to other parts of the forum? Why would you want that problem to cross-pollinate in other places? Anyway, semantics. Don't even think about it too hard. I don't even know why I gave it that much like. It's just hypocrisy for the sake of it. But it does make you think. But as it pertains to DSP, it's, yet again, how is it that these guys can criticize you, but other people can't? There are plenty of detractors who have been reasonable in their criticisms of DSP, and he completely hand-waved it, right? And then when those people got popular, when those people got well-known and renowned in a lot of cases, he went ahead and just discounted it, says, that's not what happened, But most of the stuff that Kino Casino says parrots what other detractors have said before them. So it's razzing and everything, and it's somewhat fair criticism when they do it, but not when these guys did it. And that right there just goes to show the man doesn't have, well, he's not a man first and foremost, but he doesn't value anything, right? Like, if the smallest bit of kindness can have someone who's acted like an absolute fucking man-child, using the term man loosely, for fucking years on end, go ahead and immediately change and go full 360, oh, it's just razzing, it's no big deal, then all that shit that he said those years previous, what was it worth? What you know what I'm saying? Like, what value did any of it have? And how can he expect anybody to take him seriously moving forward? Something to consider.
Yeah, you can say every once in a while he has a flaw or whatever and he does something stupid and we call him out for it, but all the things that people say about him is like most of it doesn't even matter if it's true. Some of it's not true at all.
It doesn't matter if it's true. It doesn't matter if it's true. And see, this right here is kind of the byproduct of the WWE Champions bullshit. Because, excuse me, because the cat's out of the bag, no pun intended on that. He thinks, okay, it's out there. Okay, I lied. So what? And that's it. He looks at it as there's no consequences and so on and so forth. So who gives a shit? Well, then it makes you wonder, why'd you lie for so long? But then all he's going to do is counter that and says, well, that doesn't matter now. No one cares. Well, then why'd you lie about it for so goddamn long then? He can't answer those type of questions. He can't give you any nuance to anything, as I said with my analogy about fighting games earlier on. This is why DSP is considered an empty shell. This is why he's considered a joke. This is why he's considered a lolcow. Because they can talk a whole bunch about everything, or at least they think they can, but they really can't explain anything. I want you to catch that. I'm gonna repeat that just so I make sure you get it. They can go ahead and talk about a bunch of things, but they can't actually explain anything. I want you to really, take that into consideration. I want you to really think about that.
Do anything like these other people. Yeah, you can say every once in a while he has a flaw or whatever and he does something stupid and we call him out for it, but all the things that people say about him is like most of it doesn't even matter if it's true. Some of it's not true at all.
So what trumps what? I want to take that into consideration. What trumps what? A bunch of it doesn't even matter, and the rest of it's not true. He just wraps it all. He's wrapping it all up into one bundle, right? He didn't start off with, oh, a lot of it's not true, and the rest of it doesn't even matter. No, some of it, you know what I'm saying? Some of it, none of you guys care about anyway, and the rest of it's just a lie. You know what I mean? It's weird because it's him almost trying to acknowledge that, yeah, I may have lied about a bunch of things. So what? And then then everything else, they lied. So who's the worst of the two? Which goes back to his initial analogy about there's other people worse than me. There's other people out there doing far more vile shit than I am. So yeah, I lied to you, but my detractors lie too. So, just take it for what it is. It's sick. It's sick indoctrination, right? But this is the pignosis in play. And whatnot. And that right there speaks to his psychopathy. It speaks to how he views the world and everything. Because according to Darksydephil, everybody lies to everybody. Everybody's trying to get over on everybody. That's what it's like to be an adult. But it's funny that when he feels like that's happening to him, oh, let's go ahead and get the crucifixions out. Not crucifixions, sorry. Crucifixions, sorry. Let's go ahead and get the crosses out. Let's go ahead and get get ready to lynch people and shit. Let's make sure people can lose their jobs. Let's make sure people can lose popularity. Let's make sure people can get canceled. Let's make sure everything bad that happens, let's make sure that everything that can happen bad to somebody who has it coming does happen. But when he does it, hey man, it was a misunderstanding. It's not that big of a deal. You guys don't really give a shit about it anyway. I did what I had to do to protect my family or to protect my business or whatever other fucking lame ass fucking excuse that he comes up with. It's wild. It's a wild fucking head case. And it's not surprising that anybody who's in the vortex too long will eventually develop a negative trait or even a few negative traits because of it. It's not surprising whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? When you hear this shit long enough, right? And you don't have any other outlets and it's just this shit, it's going to take a toll on you. And then that's when the degeneracy and other shit can develop too.
It's just ridiculous that he gets this amount of hate. And so I feel like that's a fair assessment, quite frankly. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm okay with that. Razz me if you want. Make fun of me. I'll razz myself, right? I don't care. I know that I'm not perfect, right? Stuart says, I found an article that says you have to redeem the code manually and how to do it. They give out limited codes per day. How do I get it? How would I get the code? Exactly.
So wait, this idiot was expecting them to send him a code. Then he finds out he has to work for it. And now he's like, well, how do I get it? But he's not going to do it anyway. I'm pretty sure he didn't do it now that he knows it's not going to be catered to him. So what's the point? Like, it's so crazy. Oh yeah, I heard these other guys on Twitter got a code, so I should be getting one too. Oh, I didn't get the code. The code that you were allegedly going to give out to somebody else anyway. Now you have to work for it. You may actually have to do something to get it. Oh yeah, we're definitely not getting that code now. That code's been lost to the snorty ether at this point. That shit's gone.
Yeah, how would I get the code exactly?
On Twitter most of the day and can't do a lick of research to save his own ass. It's just crazy to me, dude. Like for normal people, right? Like if you're not willing to show a lick of effort to do anything, you can't expect people to come along and do everything. And in some way, shape, or form, oddly enough, Darksydephil has been able to convince people to do just that. It's the most bizarre shit ever. But it's nothing to be jealous of. You know what I'm saying? That's why I always thought of the argument, which has been presented by both sides, detractors and dents alike, that, oh, some of you guys are just jealous of. Jealous of what? Like, jealous of fucking what? The dude is completely and utterly helpless. He can go ahead and speak whatever the fuck he wants to speak from his toilet bowl over their throne. But when it comes to actual, like, real world shit, he's absolutely fucking clueless. You catch that dude outside, that dude's gonna freeze the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? Whether you're coming at him in a threatening way or not. This dude is nothing without people. He can't get anything done without people. Before Kino Casino showed up, this dude was in the fucking gutter. And I still argue that he's in a worse position now than he was before they stepped into his life. Or into the vortex or whatever. Just saying.
$8 p.m. doesn't mean they send it to every day 8 p.m. Someone had mentioned that the other day, right? I know what they've said about me. I'm not stupid. People are so dumb. They think like I've done absolutely no research at all about anyone, right? Right?
So he admits that he stalks people. So I mean, that's what it's called, right? Like when you do research on Darksydephil, you're a stalker. But he's admitting here that he stalks people too. Especially people who speak on him. That's weird because whenever someone brings up something about, hey, DSP, you know that these people mentioned you? Oh, I have no clue what that is. Oh, what is that about? I've never heard about it. Oh, I don't care. I don't worry about what people say about me. That's not what he said right here. Let's bring that back.
Research at all about anyone, right?
Bring it back a little further. Here we go. Probably brought it back too far, but that's what I did. Take a sip. Sleazy asshole.
I know what they've said about me. I'm not stupid. People are so dumb. They think like I've done absolutely no research at all about anyone, right? Right?
Now that reinforces the situation with LTG. We'll eventually get into that in a future broadcast or whatnot, because there's like 5 or 6 videos to go over that entails that shit. But he clearly was harassing the fuck out of LTG. And I don't know why, because he didn't have any leverage. Like, he had nothing to offer LTG, to be honest with you. He had nothing to offer Medicare. He had nothing to offer Moist Critical. He didn't have anything to offer Mudahar. He didn't really have anything to offer Kino Casino, truth be told. So it makes you wonder why he invested that much time. And here's the thing. He's said for years, as LTG has too, that they're two completely separate people. They have nothing in common, so on and so forth. But the way DSP chased LTG was the same way that Wings, for a while, was chasing DSP. I think it was that you were lonely and you needed some camaraderie, and LTG was probably the closest person that you could get that from, I guess. Speaking of which, happy happy alleged 40th birthday to LTG and shit. Sucks that you got hacked on your birthday like that, but you know, the gift of a troll, it just keeps on giving, apparently. Holy shit, bro. Them boys went for it and got it. That's so wild. So big ups to the LTG troll community and shit. Happy belated 40th birthday to LTG. Oh boy. Funny stuff, funny stuff.
Right? Oh my god. The event can be found on the homepage. There's a banner which changes between advertising new characters and invite codes. Top left corner, of course, pick the latter one. Oh shit. Alright, let me try again. Hold on. Let's look again. Oh my god, now it won't boot. Anyway, you know, went by there and just kind of chimed in on the stuff that they were talking about. Didn't really know much of, you know, what to say, because I don't know who these people are that, you know, have to, like, I know who iDubbbz is, but I've never watched any of his stuff. It's not like I have much to say, but, you know, Thor and Jeff, no, I see a banner. Marvel Rivals Clash. And I don't see anything here. Galactica's Quest. Embark on missions. Oh, wait. Whoa. What's happened?
Riveting.
What? Apparently, I've hit level 12 in an event, and I didn't even know this existed. What is this event? Complete daily missions or challenges to rack up event XP and score sweet loot. Apparently, I unlocked an Iron Man costume. That Steam Power costume, apparently I already have it. Apparently I have a costume for Rocket Raccoon. I didn't even know this was happening. So, so I wasn't paying any attention to it. Apparently I've unlocked a bunch of stuff. So I don't know what I do here.
42-year-old man, by the way, who loves video games, who allegedly does this as a job, and is completely and utterly oblivious of the world around him. Even within game. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about that shit. Right? It's different if you're like, really, if you're in a session of like, I'll use myself for example, as Call of Duty or whatever, right? And I'm like, I'm sitting here like going for strats and trying to figure shit out or whatever. And I end up unlocking a bunch of camos or whatever. That's for whatever weapon I'm using. I've done that quite a bit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I completed a bunch of camo runs and didn't even realize it. The fucking pop-up is right there and shit. I can see it on the playback of the recording and shit. Didn't even pay attention. That's one thing, but I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't get me wrong, the zombie camos are pretty dope, but I'm not really paying attention to it. I'm trying to get these strats down and shit so I can get the information and the data so I can pass it off later. But this idiot, you're supposed to be doing this shit for entertainment, right? Like, people are supposed to be ingesting this shit, right? And they're supposed to, this is supposed to be meaningful content or whatever, and you can't even keep track of just basic rewards or unlocks that happen through progression. That's something wild, bro. I gotta tell you. You know what I mean? And this is what happens when you turn this shit into a fucking job. You know what I'm saying? It's not fun anymore. He doesn't look forward to anything. It's just another task to be done and then thrown to the side.
Yeah, apparently now I'm working towards that Spider-Man costume. Huh. I see. Someone said they unlocked.
And I thought we were looking for fucking codes and shit. Why did our autism just kick in and now we're worried about a bunch of other shit that don't even really matter? Wow. Wow.
Unlocked the Venom costume. Yeah, here it is. That blue Venom costume. That's cool. That's level 30. I'm only at level 12. Damn, this thing keeps going. If you played the heck out of this, you unlock up to level 42 of free unlockables in the game. That's a ton. You won't get to keep any of those, only the blue Venom skin. Well, I'm not going to hit level 30. Even though I play this as the main stream on Saturday like I'm planning. Dude, there's no way I'm going to hit level 30. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not playing it that much, so I guess I'm not keeping any of this stuff. It's neat, though. It's neat to see what the kind of stuff they're going to be doing. Alright, well, I don't see this code you guys are talking about. I'm looking here on the banners and everything. I don't see anything. So I'm guessing I don't have a code to give out yet.
You know, this dip could just share the screen and just, first off, he could have showed them the rewards, right? And then, more importantly than that, he could have them direct him to where to find the shit. Isn't that the whole point of getting the $2,000 PC he bought? I'm sorry, the $2,000 PC that was gifted to him? Isn't that a thing? Couldn't we have done that? Speaking of which, and I called this, by the way, where he's gonna buy a new PC for a new streaming PC. All of you out there who said, "Oh no, he's just gonna take Cat's PC," no, he's not gonna do that. I told you guys he wasn't gonna do that. I told you that on stream. The reason why is because it's old. It's a hand-me-down. He used that as a threat against her. He used that as propagation for his audience. That, oh yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and use hers. The specs on her PC are still pretty good. I can just use that. Yeah, he was never planning on doing that. He wants a whole new setup all the way around. And in our current timeline, he wants a brand new capture card, despite the fact he was just gifted one, what, a few months ago? No. We need a brand new one now. He has a Stream Deck, but that one's old. Or at least that's what he's going to say, despite the fact he's never used it. So he's going to want a brand new one, right? He's going to want the 32-button one, obviously. He's not going to want the little 16. No, mine's 15, right? Yeah, 5, 10, 15. Yeah, he's not going to want the 15-button standard one. He's going to want the 32 one, right? Because you got to feel special. Shit like that. So like I said, the moment he bought that new gaming PC, he was definitely going to buy himself a new streaming one. There was no way he was going to take her hand-me-down. Especially being that I believe she still uses it. I don't believe that office is cluttered or her room's cluttered. She sleeps in there. And she games in there. Outside, unless she gets stuck downstairs for whatever reason. So he wasn't going to take something that was already being used. You know what I'm saying? Because he was talking all that nonsense back in August. In August, he was saying, yeah, I'm going to have to do this transition over. It's going to be so much problems, and this, that, and the third. But he never said, what was he going to do with all of Kat's progress? What was he going to do with all of her programs? What was he going to do with all her save files? He never said any of that. He just said all the work he was going to have to do to transition everything from his old PC to her PC. Well, why would he bother doing that when he could just buy a new one with more hard drive space? You know what I'm saying? And because he's so inept with technology, he really thinks this shit's going to be hard to move everything over, and it won't. I mean, most of that stuff you're not going to move over anyway because you're going to a new operating system. And it's not going to be that hard to learn, but then again, he's still on Windows 8. I mean, I think he's on Windows 11 on his new gaming PC, but other than that, he's been on Windows 8 forever. And then he's going to bitch and complain about the drivers. And if you don't update the drivers on Windows 11, you're literally going to fuck yourself. But time will tell. And it makes you wonder, does he upload the shit or not upload, but does he update the gaming PC or not? If not, it might explain some of the problems that he has, as well as the other drivers that he needs for some of the other elements. Let me stop. I'm preaching to the choir. You guys already know about all that. But he don't.
Or unlock or whatever. I don't know. I don't see a way to do it. So I guess what I'll have to do is keep checking. Did you guys say 8 p.m.? Because I didn't hit level 6 until after 8 p.m. yesterday. So maybe you have to hit level 6 and then it hits 8 p.m. and then they send you the code? Is that how it works? So anyway, all right. So I'll keep checking for you guys again. I definitely want to give out that code when I get it for you guys. Excuse me. Oh, stupid cold sucks. Okay. All right. So let me get back on track. So anyway, I hung out with the guys on Kino Casino for like an hour. It was fun, and we had a good time. And basically, you know, the way I see it is, listen, I know that these guys are about drama, right? But at least they're treating me fairly. And that's a change that I haven't had in a long time. I haven't actually had someone...
I thought we were above the drama, though. I thought we didn't need all that. So if Keem had treated you nicer, or as the theory that I presented you guys on stream, if Keem had treated him... it's almost hilarious to say this. If Keem had treated you as an equal, would he be more receptive to Lolcow Live? Or Lolcow Podcast, I should say. As I sip from my my SnortBucks coffee cup.
Just treat me fairly in a long time. It's not about getting your butt kissed. It's about like, hey, here's somewhere where I can just drop in every once in a while and say hi and feel welcome and hang out and talk with them and have a good time, as opposed to, oh, look, I want to just drop in and say hi. Oh, it's time for the interrogation. It's time for the firing squad to come out and execute me publicly and be insanely critical of me and you know, ask me 400 personal questions they know I'm not going to answer. You know what I mean? Like,
wait, they're going to ask me 400 questions that they know I'm not going to answer. So you basically admitting that you would have lied. The more I hear this shit around this time period, the more it does make sense that he was always planning on lying to Sidescrollers. Always. Always. He always had plans to lie to those people. Holy shit.
I want to just drop in and say hi. Oh, it's time for the interrogation. It's time for the firing squad to come out and execute me publicly and be insanely critical of me and you know, ask me 400 personal questions they know I'm not going to answer. You know what I mean? Like, it's a little different to just have somewhere to hang out, which is something cool to do.
And this is even more important, ladies and gentlemen, because this right here is actually gives you a glimpse into what Sidescrollers was supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you really take it in the context, this is what he was hoping to get out of Sidescrollers. Like, you know what I'm saying? That was supposed to be his safe space. That was the place he thought he could go to and have camaraderie with, and any detractor, troll, hater, or critic that tries to jump in there, oh, they'll immediately come around and shield Phil from the criticism or whatnot. Craig and people on the panel at that time would come around and be like, hey, man, just ease up. You know what I'm saying? We're trying to just chill here and whatever. That's what he was looking for.
In a long time. I haven't actually had someone just treat me fairly in a long time. It's not about getting your butt kissed. It's about like, hey, here's somewhere where I can just drop in every once in a while and say hi and feel welcome and hang out and talk with them and have a good time, as opposed to, oh, look, I want to just drop in and say hi. Oh, it's time for the interrogation. It's time for the firing squad to come out and execute me publicly
But see, he kind of fucked his own narrative because he basically says, oh, I wanted it to be like Cheers, right? I'm just coming into the bar, hanging out, and chilling. And then he follows it up with this bullshit, which only reinforces people's thoughts, or at least my thoughts anyway, that he was just looking for a safe space.
And be insanely critical of me and you know, ask me 400 personal questions they know I'm not going to answer. You know what I mean? Like, it's a little different to just have somewhere to hang out, which is something cool to do. Like, again, I've said this before, I'll say it again. With the side-scrollers thing last year, that's what
I called it.
It was supposed to be. They reached out to me and said, do you want to be a guest on our show? Look, all these guests were lining up because we restarted our show, our podcast. And I said, yes. And then they said, oh, well, because of who you are, because all your detractors contacted us, we now want to do a giant in-depth, interview instead. Wait, what? How about you treat me fairly like everybody else?
But according to you, no one treated you fairly up to that point. Matter of fact, up to that point, no one actually even really interacted with you. And the people who did want to interview you, you didn't want to go up there because, well, you're a coward. So what do you mean treat you fairly like everybody else? You were going to be the first guest. And it doesn't really matter because you've admitted quite a few times up to this point in particular that you were going to lie to them about anything anyway, as long as you could get your way. So you literally were going to walk into a situation being dishonest, whether they were going to interrogate you in the interview or not. I don't understand how he doesn't understand that. But, that's what locals do.
Instead of treating me like dirt because I have detractors, right? And I don't feel like I'm being treated like dirt when I'm on their show. You know what I mean? So that's nice.
Oh, so they can shit on your wife all they want, but as long as you're not getting completely shit on, it's okay. I got you. Whatever. When the detractors do it, you guys are attacking my life, you're attacking my wife, this isn't right. Kino Casino could do that shit. Oh, it's just razzing. Yeah, that's not hypocritical. I don't know what is.
I could just come in and hang out with them and have a good time. That's what it's all about, right? So I'll continue to talk with those guys. From time to time, you may see me if I have a night where I have like a free hour before I go to sleep, because they stream the same times as me. Like, they stream during my late streams. They stream way later than me, though. So that's why, like, last night I was going to sleep at an hour and I jumped in there. I was able to, like, hang out and chat with them.
And that's why that DSP politics shit ain't going to work either, because this idiot, because he's already let the cat out the bag on this, that he's basically trying to stream on over there on Kick on their off streams, at least the DSP politics shit. And that's not going to, well, it'll probably work now, being that Kino Casino is kind of imploding on itself. But there's no guarantee that people from Kino Casino's audience will mask migrate over to him and look at him, as an acceptable alternative to Kino Casino. It's not, I don't think it's going to happen that way whatsoever, because their audience is far different than the moderate fence-sitting bullshit that DSP is trying to go for. So, like, he's going to run into problems with that, obviously. And if Kino Casino is actually down for the count for a little while, yeah, DSP might get himself a small resurgence of viewers for a while, but it will never be enough, I don't think. I haven't looked at Kick's policy yet on how their partnership works, but I don't think him streaming over there for 1 day a week, or even 2 days a week with 200 viewers would be enough. The 200 viewers, 300 viewers might be enough, but I don't know if 1 or 2 days a week is going to be enough for him to qualify for their program. But then again, it's very clear, to me anyway, that recently DSP said that when he had the first DSP politics stream, he said, oh, I had like 1,000 followers. I don't even remember if there was that many, or 1,000 viewers. I don't even remember if it was that high. But it may have been. But these other people who were restreaming him, which there was a couple people, that being said, had a few people on there. Obviously, Dark Dave Mirrors and Raw Phil had numbers. And there was a few other detractors that were restreaming as well. Well, DSP took the ones who were making the biggest numbers at that particular time and said, oh, well, I had like 1,000 viewers, but then I had like another 1,500 to 2,000 other viewers from these restreamers. Those are my views. My thought process is he's going to present that shit to Kick and be like, hey, I'm pulling anywhere from 300 to 1,000 viewers on my shows. And then these guys on this other platform who are restreaming me, they're doing that too. They're taking my shit and look at the numbers they're having. You have to bring me into the program now. You have to put me in because I am putting up the numbers. If these guys weren't stealing my shit, I would have, look at what the combined number would be. I honestly think that's what his angle is, because I'm thinking that's the angle he tried to use against Tevin and a few of those other guys who was restreaming him back in the day. I think because back in the day, DSP could hold like 500 viewers, which was lame for him, for, you know, a channel that size to only have that many, but semantics. But the restreamers were in, like, LSB was in the 6, 7, 800s. Tevin was breaking 1200 easy. Then you had Dark Dave Mirrors, who occasionally pulled 500 or more. And I think DSP could easily use that as a metrics of, hey, these are what these guys are taking away from me. This is what they're taking away from the from my Twitch chat. They're taking away from you and potential ad revenue. And one of those guys streams on your platform. Now, I'm not saying that's exactly what he used to get Tevin out of there, but I'm pretty confident that's one of the aspects that he was using.
I'm definitely not going to be in there every time that they're streaming. In fact, I don't even know what their streaming schedule is. It was just like random that they were streaming and I dropped by and I was like, oh, hey, there they are.
That doesn't make any sense. You showed up to a stream that you didn't even know they had. Stop that bullshit. Especially since this fucking tard just told us that he did his research on them. And they're pretty consistent, or at least back then. They used to be pretty consistent with their schedule. He really thinks people are stupid. He really thinks people are stupid.
So, yeah, I guess we'll see. But, you know, we have had some discussions about the possibility of maybe having some interactions and collabs and stuff. Notably, as you know, I am absolutely 100% going to react to the Review Tech USA documentary coming out by June the King sometime in early August. Okay? Now, would it be cool to be able to do like a crossover deal where we could do like a react together on that? I think so. I think that would be kind of neat. And it would be unique content, something that I've never really done before, right? At the same time, I don't know how to make it work because we don't know when it is. Like, if we knew right now, if we knew, oh, it's on August 7th and it's coming out at noon, I'd be like, dude, all right, cool. We can organize this. We can get this going. We can figure out how we're going to do it. Either they can...
You know how autistic that sounds? Maybe they want to react to it first. Maybe they want to maybe they want to watch it on their own. Maybe they want to go ahead and let that shit marinate and see what other people think of it before they do it. DSP wants to hop on it right away. And that's his problem. Because the idiot don't know how to do anything in moderation, because he's an addict, right? Because he has an addiction problem, right? Everything has to be done, has to be exploited right away. Which is funny that he has this much eagerness for drama content, but we don't see this much eagerness, or we don't see this type of anticipation for games, which is his hobby, which is his job, which is supposedly the thing he loves doing. And he says, and he said, that drama is what made YouTube a much worse place, even the internet as a whole. But look at him literally chomping at the goddamn snout to get his hands on this shit. Maybe you could just do the react yourself. How about you do that, and then maybe you guys could do a co-op later. No. We have to do it together. We have to do this together. We've already been talking about doing co-oping. Let's just go ahead and do this together. And that right there should explain to you, for those of you who want better insight, or excuse me, even a deeper insight into what John and Howard had to deal with when it came to playthroughs back in the day. This right here is a good sign of it. This right here, I think, is a great window into that. A perspective that you really can't necessarily get from the old videos per se. Or maybe you can. It depends. I guess it depends on your particular insight and your perception on things. I don't want to sell anybody short.
It'd be cool to be able to do like a crossover deal where we could do like a react together on that. I think so. I think that would be kind of neat. And it would be unique content, something that I've never really done before, right? At the same time, I don't know how to make it work because we don't know when it is. Like, if we knew right now, if we knew, oh, it's on.
I noticed, though, too, that he doesn't snort nearly as much now in our current day than he did a few months ago. It's amazing how Kino Casino was able to get him to shape that shit up, too. Somewhat. He still snores. He just doesn't do it as often, I think.
August 7th, and it's coming out at noon. I'd be like, dude, all right, cool. We can organize this. We can get this going. We can figure out how we're going to do it. Either they can join me or I can join them. We could be watching the video together in some kind of a thing, right? Like a group viewing thing over the internet. That way when we pause, we're all seeing it pause together and resume together and stuff like that, you know? I think that would be nice, but the problem is we don't know when it is. So if we get concrete information on exactly when it's coming out, then we can plan it. But right now, I feel like it's just kind of like this weird thing where we're like waiting and we don't know yet. I mean, the good news is there's no new games or anything coming out in early August. So it's not like my schedule isn't available to be shifted around. It is. But, you know, they're on the...
And this right here also should give you some insight on the bullshit June the King probably had to deal with. I can only imagine how many fucking empty, bloated messages that June the King got from DSP. Hey, how's the documentary going? When's it coming out? What's going to be in it? You have an ETA on that? When's it going to come out? You know, can you give me like, you know, a day or two heads up before it drops? That shit must be irritating as fuck, man. It really must be. And that's why it may not be the best thing to open yourself up completely to people on the internet, man. You don't know how these people really are or how they act or whatever. And maybe, just maybe, you shouldn't make yourself completely accessible to people either. You know what I mean? And I think that's one of the mistakes June did by opening himself up to DSP like this. Because once you do anything with DSP once, it becomes expected, right? He couldn't take it or think of that as a courtesy. It's something to be expected. Like, for example, if I reached out to Declan, for example, at like 11 o'clock in the fucking evening and shit and be like, hey, man, I got something I got to run by you. He may do me the courtesy and be like, yeah, sure, man, I'll hear you out. What's up? If I do it that again for 2 fucking weeks straight, that's probably going to be a problem. You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't take advantage of people like that. You shouldn't look to take advantage of people like that. You know what I'm saying? But DSP is not wired like a normal person. So, and that's the reason why the behavior that you see him exhibit is the way it is. That's something that doesn't change. That's not a behavior. It's a condition. It may even be a complex in some ways. But a condition and a complex are 2 separate things. And I'm still actually like delving into that. So don't take too much to what I say on that one.
They're actually like Eastern time zone, and I'm Pacific time zone. So they're Eastern Standard Time, I'm Pacific Standard Time. So even there, it makes it even tougher to figure out. So what I'll do,
it's harder to figure out. You don't know what it is on the East Coast time when you've been hardwired on East Coast time since you got there in 2014, which is the reason why you do everything the way he does. If you look at his actual streaming schedule, as funny as that is, if you actually look at it, it's completely hardwired to East Coast time. It has no real consideration of to the West Coast time at all. And that's the reason why I think he has a hard time bringing that viewership in, because it's completely and utterly targeted to an East Coast audience.
But, you know, they're on the East, they're actually like Eastern time zone, and I'm Pacific time zone. So they're Eastern Standard Time, I'm Pacific Standard Time. So even there, it makes it even tougher to figure out. So what I'll do, I'll be talking with these guys. We'll try to figure stuff out. I'll also see if we can figure out when this thing is coming out. All right, and go from there. And I'll let you know. But you already know I'm already reacting to it. That's all.
And this is actually one of the things that fucked him over. Now that I think about it. Excuse me. This is one of the things that fucked him up leading up to the Sidescroller interview, because he wanted first he said he didn't want Sidescrollers to announce he was going to be on the show. They did. They announced that he was going to eventually be on the show. He's going to be their first guest. DSP got butthurt about it. Then DSP was getting mad that they wouldn't announce the day that they had set on. And I can't remember what Craig's reasoning was for not doing it when he did it on that particular show, on that particular day, but he didn't do it. So DSP decided to do it out of spite. And then DSP got the nerve to get mad that this influx of detractors and everything showed up and everything was going to get blown out of the water. Even though you knew that Craig was going to eventually have to announce the show. You knew that he was going to want to get maximum exposure on it, but you didn't want that. You wanted it to be a hug box. And then when he didn't announce the date for the show and time, when you wanted him to, you decided to release it yourself. And even then, most people didn't give a fuck besides your detractors, trolls, haters, and critics. Only people in your own audience did. There was no influx. There was no huge impact by you saying anything. You literally just did it out of spite. And that's the reason why you can't do things with people like him. The quartering's kind of like that too. If you guys know, you know. But the quartering's like that also. You can't tell that asshole nothing because he will drop that shit because he don't think. You know what I'm saying? He just doesn't think.
Already happening regardless, but we may now do like a crossover event deal and see how it goes. Okay? So if you're into that kind of stuff, go check them out on Kick. You know, it might not be your cup of tea. Certainly, you know, that's not the kind of stuff that I do here. I'm not sitting here doing drama content all day or anything like that. But they've been very nice to me, you know, and yeah, cool. All right, so I guess we'll see how it goes. All right, fair enough. So again, welcome to any of you who may be people coming in from Kino Casino. This week, I've seen an influx of viewers, an influx of subscribers. I probably got like 200-300 new subscribers this week alone that probably weren't natural viewers, but people who came from the casino, and that's nice. It's nice to have you. Again, if you want to come here and have chill streams with me, that's what you're going to find here. I'm not the kind of guy.
Why can't we come there and have... That's a great screenshot. Why can't they come there to be entertained and have an entertaining stream? Because, like, his chill streams is basically just like the regular stream. It's a whole lot of nothing. And anybody who tries to have a conversation with someone else about a topic that isn't Darksydephil or the game that he needs to be held through immediately needs to be fucking expelled out of the fucking chat because they're not staying on topic. What's chill about that? And you can't really ask DSP about shit because he don't know nothing. And then if he feels intimidated, he'll start talking about it briefly in circles, right? To make, just giving you a bunch of empty calories and shit, just to make it seem like he's somewhat knowledgeable, while really he's telling you a whole lot of nothing. He's really good at doing that. I will say. He's very good at just literally blurting out a whole lot of nothing. Literally empty calories.
I'm not going to be sitting here talking about drama.
Too bad his wife couldn't benefit from that.
I'm all day. You know, I got games to play. I got things to do. I want to have fun, chill interactions with my audience. That's what I'm about. So if that's what you're all about, come on by, you know. But, you know, when I'm over there on the, you know, if I'm joining one of their streams and kind of hanging out with them, then obviously I'm going to roll with whatever they're doing too.
And listen to how overcommitted he is to this shit. Like, nothing's set in stone, but he already had it in his head. I'm going to be that third seat. I'm going to be that third seat. And this goes back to whether it's a condition or a complex that he's developed as it pertains to Sidescrollers, because he really thought he was going to be that additional seat. He was going to be that reoccurring guest. And now he's going to do this with Kino Casino. I honestly think, I'm kind of letting this cat out of the bag because I'm not ready to, I don't have it fully fleshed out yet. But, I mean, fuck it, right? So it's all, let's just, you know, playing some chess and drinking coffee, right? Laughing at this idiot while I cut bacon off his back. So it is what it is. Now that I think about it, it's been a while since I've said I don't smell no bacon cooking. It's been a minute since I've said that. Don't worry, it's coming back. I'm bringing it back. But I honestly think he tried to use Kino Casino as a redemption arc for himself as it pertains to Sidescrollers. I honestly think he was trying to use Kino Casino to show Craig and Sidescrollers, I do have worth, I do have value, and you should let me up, and you should invite me back on your show. You should be making me a reoccurring guest on your show. And I also think that's the reason why he jumped his ass into politics. Now, I don't know if one of my previous broadcasts have already said that, but if not, I'll just say it here, and if you hear it twice, I mean, it is what it is. I repeat myself a lot. It is what it is. But I honestly think that's one of the aspects of this whole thing, is him trying to show his worth, trying to show his value to Sidescrollers. Because it's funny how he wants to bash Sidescrollers from talking about video games, which is what they still do, into them going into politics, which is what they always were planning on doing. Just because DSP didn't see the plan doesn't mean the plan didn't exist. But the irony of it all is he's doing the exact same shit. He's literally following in Craig's footsteps. Kicking and screaming and squealing, but he's still doing it.
Okay? Excuse me. Oh, man. I'm really sorry about this stupid cold. It's pissing me off. No, Alvarez, see, here's the thing. He says, we don't do drama content. Reacting to the RTU documentary is not that. And I think he's being facetious. Okay?
No, I think you're seeing what you want to see. Which is real, like, in your own bubble type behavior and shit. When you start interpreting what other people are doing who are trying to give you their opinion, it makes you think.
When I'm reacting to a documentary, if you haven't noticed, first of all, I pick and choose the ones I react to.
Yeah, none of them have really ever been good. I think the only documentary that he chose that actually was a hit was Wings, to be honest with you, which is ironic, to be honest with you, because it's the person that he thinks the least of, and he really doesn't want to have too much association with, was the one that did the best, or did well, I should say. Even though I honestly put this out there, and I'm going to put this out here into the vortex, just because it needs to be said. It's funny that he never grew a set and just decided, you know what, fuck you, I'm just going to react to the June the King documentary about LTG. He's never done that. It's funny how when LTG told him that one time, yeah, no, I don't want you to react to that shit. He basically said, yes, sir, and just went along with it. And never, you know what I'm saying, never pushed back or anything. And then he wanted to sit here and talk all this shit about sexiness and crispy and all this bullshit. But out of spite, he never said, you know what, I'm just going to do the June the King documentary anyway, and if LTG don't like it, fuck him. Now, there's some obviously good reasons to not do it, because LTG will try to strike that shit. So maybe DSP would think about that, possibly. But that requires a bit of forethought, and I don't know if Phil's fucking cerebral cortex is actually developed enough to even think about that. Or frontal lobe. But with that even being said, I'm just really surprised he never really tried to do anything spiteful to LTG, because he honestly has it in the back of his fucking noggin that he can get LTG to the table one day. Just don't do any, go ahead and throw jabs at him, right? Go ahead and throw a bunch of angry snorts his way, but don't do anything that actually piss him off. And maybe he could get him to come to the table one day. It's really kind of pathetic, I don't know, schoolgirl crush type shit. But, I mean, shit, DSP is damn near confirmed that he must be homosexual, so it is what it is. It kind of makes sense. No matter what, Phil, no matter what hole that you're trying to get whatever man to fill, they're never going to replace John. You should just reach out to John and talk to him. I'm giving you some advice. I don't know why. Maybe because I think it's funny. Maybe because I think it's funny. But maybe that's what you should do, man. You're never going to get over John if you don't talk to him.
The reason is, the ones that I'm reacting to, I have some kind of a vested interest because somehow I'm involved. All right? With the Wings of Redemption documentaries I reacted to, this is a guy people have referenced in my content over the years.
That's not a good reason to do a documentary just because you're personally involved in it. Just because you can, I mean, I get what he's trying to say. He thinks he has insight. He thinks he can give you clarification or clarity, but he don't, because he doesn't know anything about the person. He just knows that the person has spoke about him. That right there is not justification to do to react to a documentary. You should react to something that's interesting. But then again, the only thing that DSP is really interested in is himself. So I kind of answered my own question, and I've kind of already dispelled the reason why DSP don't do long form reacts unless it's about him, because he has nothing else to offer. Dude, there's a bunch of FGC documentaries out there, or just even FGC short docs, if you will, or, you know, small docs, if you will. He never goes over any of that shit because most of those things he's not in. And even the ones that he may be adjacent to, right? Or he may have some connection to the people in there, he still don't want to go over it. It makes you wonder. And what I think the reason is, he is not willing to lie on someone else unless he's directly in the video or in the documentary. Then he could say, oh, well, I just misinterpreted the situation. It's a slime ball type tactic, but it's not one that he's above.
This is a guy who had a career parallel to mine on YouTube. And there were so many ways that I could compare my experiences with his, the things I've been through to the things he's been through, giving my takes on how he reacted to things and what he said over the years. People really liked.
But that wasn't true. Like, DSP and Wings' careers definitely didn't work out. Like, or they're not really the same. Because Wings dedicated himself essentially to just one genre of games. And a segment of games, actually, that he was far more successful than DSP and did far less work, to be honest with you. It's when he started poaching his audience for women and shit is what fucked him up. It's when he let his mouth started writing checks that his ass couldn't cash. Is when he started getting fucked up. It's when he let other people who supposedly were his friends or supposedly cared about him let him run his mouth for their profit, and then they end up kicking his ass out later on while they had the spoils of war, is one of his problems. It's a lot of things. Like, Wink started beef with a bunch of people thinking that he could just out-talk them or he could down-talk them and they would just give up. Now, it wasn't a matter of Wings trying to win or lose these arguments. He just wanted to see if he could get them to give up. You know what I'm saying? Once the heat was on. right? But Wings was never gonna outsmart no one. The guy is the product of corn pone country pussy, backwater shit. Like, you weren't gonna outsmart nobody, so that wasn't gonna work. And then people were able to see through your bullshit. Like, for example, when this dude was literally suicide baiting back in the day, and he got called out by fucking Woody's gamer tag. He got called out by Keemstar, only used me blade when he didn't have a hole in his goddamn foot, and he wasn't a complete and utter alcoholic. Whiteboy 7th Street was there and called him out. El Presidor called him out and shit. Dude, like, if you know, you know. But like, when that shit happened, he was clearly doing that shit for money. He was clearly doing it for views. He was clearly doing it for attention. The moment that he got criticized, he basically cried and complained, and then he threatened to release private information on other people to get his revenge. He's a spiteful little bitch, just like DSP is. He always has been. Wings was always that way, because he's incredibly self-conscious, and he's easy to...
He just kept saying that you faked the whole thing and you're done.
What I got from that, what I caught from like the pieces that I was talking over, was that he's upset that I spent money on myself.
No, I'm saying you need to fake something. You need to do this for your view quota for the month. You need to.
Dude, there's no way in hell I'm hitting my view quota.
You're a cancer on this fucking community.
Cancer, dude. Come on. You can't. You even said it yourself that I get maybe 1,000 views.
I'm here for the money. I do it for the money. You relate.
Why do you give Xboxes away?
You decide to get money, and you just keep on doing it, and you're just gonna keep on doing whatever it is for money. And this is, I'm passionate about this, because if we let this fucking stand, we might as let every else fucking bullshit stand. And it's not right. It's not right for the online gaming community.
White boy.
This is serious, Wings. And
you know what's serious is you're calling me a view whore when I make a fraction of what you make.
It's not, Wings. It's not.
White boy, do you think if this is so serious, do you think there's anything Wings can do to make it right?
I don't know, man. I'm not a fucking PR person for Wings.
White boy, you still under the impression that this whole thing was calculated from the start?
What was that?
What he said, do you think this whole thing was calculated from the start?
Yeah, for views, for attention. And he said it was calculated.
White boy, you make so much more money than me. It's ridiculous. No. You calling me a view whore. You give away Xboxes and PlayStation cards, and you calling me the cancer on the community.
Get my bank account out your mouth, please.
I don't need to get your bank account out your mouth. You're real close to me just telling you what you what you actually make.
That's not anybody's business what people make, though. Wings.
I know what he makes. His contract can't be much different from mine.
But Wings, he's not talking about money though.
He's calling me a view whore when he said himself I'd get like 1,000 views. But you're a fucking dumbass, dude. I don't do that shit for views. If I did that shit for views, I would do it on my fucking YouTube channel. Why don't you take your one-eyed ass and learn fucking something? Quit smoking pot. Quit being a fucking high school dropout.
So I think instead of going after the messenger, we should talk about the message. Right?
Wings, look at this. Look here, Wings. You called me out on my eye. I remember we had a drama back when you called me out on. I had a lisp because my microphone would appreciate this. My microphone wasn't as good. Why are you so materialistic? I'm a fucking person, Wings. Like,
I'm a fucking person too, and you're sitting there trying to destroy my livelihood by some fucking bullshit, trying to say I did some view whore and shit.
Fucking suicide. Do you not understand the gravity of the situation? You faked the suicide for views. You're fucking raw instinct. You're fucking G-Unit, Wings. This is what you are. This is what you brought. You brought this on yourself because you need more views, Wings. It's not all about the fucking views. It's not. If you take that out your mind, if you just don't look at the view counter, maybe you'll be happier in life. Maybe you will. But you're just so concerned about numbers on a website that it just it engulfs you and it makes you depressed. I liked you, Wings. I liked your videos. I was watching you back in World at War. Even though you talk shit about a lot of things that I disagree on, I like you as a person, but I lost all respect for you when you took it to the next level where a human life, you fake suicide for attention. That's what a 13-year-old girl does, Wings. You're a grown-ass man. Start fucking acting like it and stop being a fucking vagina all the time. And you're so fucking emotional about it. Step back and fucking grow some fucking balls. Jeez.
Can I ask you why you're trying to get my personal information?
I'm just trying to see how much of this is correct, because I gave some of this information to Fisticuffs.
You gave my personal information to Fisticuffs?
Yep.
Okay, so should I find out what trailer park you live in and announce that to the world?
I don't live in a trailer park, my man.
Wait, so what was the motivation behind this action?
This is, well, basically, I did some digging, and I tried to find everything I could find out about him in case he actually did drop my YouTube channel.
All right. Well, this is a good example, though, Wings. Like, you know,
I was going to take a trip up to New York.
This was.
You might be going back looking like a raccoon.
Maybe, like, none of this would have been necessary. You know, maybe even if you did it on your own, you didn't need to bring it up now, though. You know what I mean?
I'm just letting him know that. I'm just letting him know it's out there, and that way he won't be surprised.
Do you know how many people threaten me a day? It's like, I know that you're a bully and that you get off on bullying people, but like, I'm one person that is just going to constantly have that middle finger in the air. It's never going to go down. It's always going to be fuck you. No one is ever going to fucking talk me into submission or anything. So whatever you're trying to do, just stop now. Because the middle finger is right here.
I'm letting you know that I did give away some of your personal information.
I'm not intimidated in any way.
I'm not trying to intimidate you.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Trying to say my girlfriend's name. And trying to say where I live, what my P.O. box is. I just want you to know, it's always up, dude. The bird is flying right now. Like, I'm not backing down.
All right, I'm gonna step in here and just.
He's incredibly self-conscious, and it's very easy to show the flaws that are in his character. You know what I'm saying? Like, the guy doesn't show any growth. He reads something, he takes it in, and then he tries to use it to his own, like, to his own benefit, if you will. You see it actually on LolCal Live, where he'll read something and he thinks he has a grasp of it, and then he'll try to throw it back at you to try to make himself seem smart, and it falls flat. Like, when Boogie doesn't even acknowledge it, it tells you something. Excuse me. But they keep letting him do it because it's just part of who Wings is. Jordy has always been that way. You know what I'm saying? And he doesn't have his priorities together. That's why he always needs someone to take care of him. That's why, ironically enough, when Gangster Grandma got really, really sick, it's interesting that all of a sudden, me and Kelly might actually get married. He was kind of already rearing Kelly to start, to get her to replace Gangster Grandma when that situation happened. As fucked up as that may sound, it doesn't mean it's not true.
My reaction content to his documentaries because it was insightful. You understand? I'm not just going to sit here and react to everything. I want to react to things that I feel that I can add some kind of educational insight into because of the unique positioning that I have.
Educational insight. Never thought that would come out of his mouth. What do you do, or what do you say that's educational?
Being a YouTuber for 16 years and being involved with...
See, Alt, from that being said, he should take offense to something like that. Since Alt is actually a teacher, he should take offense to some shit like that. Maybe not offense, but it's something certainly to laugh at. Begrudgingly.
A lot of the shit. In the case of Review Tech, dude, this is a guy who, no exaggeration, has made half of his content about me for the last decade. He is obsessed with me. This is a man who has an unhealthy obsession with me. And people have identified it and called it out, and he just doubles down, triples down, and quadruples down on it. And it's to the point of mania at this point. The way that this guy talks about me, I'm not like Phil Burnell. I have a family, and I do this and that, unlike Phil Burnell. And by the way, May the 1st burst be with you. Let's do an annual celebration of May the 1st burst. And you look at this shit and you're like, this guy is fucking broken. Irrevocably broken with the way that he's acting.
It's a lot of projection there. But yet again, but you should hear him out, though. Because he's describing himself, and somewhere in the confines of his psyche, he has to know that. I would think something like that would hurt you. It would hurt you to say that, be brutally honest like that, even though you're not directly doing it yourself. You're doing it kind of like subconsciously. I don't know. Maybe that might be me just looking too deep into it.
Burst be with you. Let's do an annual celebration of May the 1st burst. And you look at this shit and you're like, this guy is fucking broken. Irrevocably broken with the way that he's acting. He's a man that's supposed to be an adult parent, and he acts like he's a fucking 7-year-old to get views on YouTube, right? Like, what the hell, dude? So, yeah, like, I have a very big vested interest in reacting to his documentary because, number one, I want to know who actually is rich to think that he's better than me, like he says all the time, right? I want to know, who is this guy? Where did he come from? What kind of content?
He came from around your way. You both came up in fucking Bridgeport, Connecticut. Must be something in the water or something. I don't know. It's weird, though, because neither one of your fathers are failures. But their sons, or at least you two in particular, came out as absolute fuck-ups. It's really, really bizarre. It's really, really bizarre how that happened. It must be something in the water. Maybe it's a generational thing. I don't know. But you guys came out absolute fucking losers and shit. And it's weird because in your fan bases, not everybody in your fan base, well, everybody in DSP's fan base for sure, not necessarily everybody in Review Techs. There are some decent people in his audience and his fan base. But you guys attract losers too. Like, it's really, really strange how you guys absolutely attract the just absolute pathetic people to fucking be your fans. Such strange shit. Absolutely wild.
Did he make before he became a drama YouTuber, which is what he is, right? Like, he didn't always used to be like that. So what happened that he became this drama YouTuber? Because it's news. It's not news. New TMZ is not news. Okay? It's not.
It's entertaining, though. Not to say that fucking Review Tech's entertaining. He's not. But TMZ is entertaining.
It's gossip. That's like saying tabloids are news. Tabloids are not news. They're gossip.
Gossip's entertaining.
You are a gossip girl. Like, literally, you are a gossip girl. A gossip queen, in fact. You're a queen of gossip on YouTube, and that's how you made your living. 1 million subs as a gossip girl, right?
I mean, being a gossip girl, but yeah, he got further than your gossip queen, whatever you're comfortable with, Phil. Because that whole, now that I think about it, that whole argument he had, you have to go back for this. During Last of Us 2, when it got announced and Ellie got aged up, and DSP took a lot of offense to that shit. He took a lot of offense to her growing up, and then her being also, she's not bisexual, I think she's just lesbian. He took some offense to that too. I always thought that was strange behavior he exhibited when that happened. For those of you who remember that, you remember. Pepperidge Farm remembers. But he was very, very upset that they aged her up and that she made her own choice and that she was lesbian. He was very upset at that shit. But whatever.
Well, I want to know how this all happened. All right? And I want to know, is there an actual reason why he has attached himself to me? What is the reasoning? Because it's, like I said, it's on the level of obsession. It's almost like he thinks that's the only thing he can do to get attention when the well runs dry. If there's no news today, go back to Phil.
Well, there's plenty of news. He's just lazy like you are. That's why you don't hear too much of that DSPN bullshit no more. That's why the politics show is going to dry up eventually, because he doesn't seem comfortable. Excuse me. He doesn't seem comfortable with going with national news per se. He wants to keep all that shit local. And I don't know why he feels, I don't know if he thinks it's safe. I don't know if he thinks, oh, if it's local news, no one can really question him and whatnot. Like there isn't other people who live in the state of Washington or in Seattle, but semantics. Matter of fact, what the hell is Drunken Peasants doing right around now? I wonder if they're going over any of that shit. I wonder if they can even get him back on the show. I mean, besides that fact that they tried to auction off his fucking DMs and shit. That was kind of lame. But, you know, it is what it is. I wonder what Drunken Peasants think about DSP politics. All right, I'm just going to put that shit out there. If that shit grows legs, it grows legs. But it does make you think.
Right? So anyway, that's, you know, and again, if he wasn't obsessed with me, And if he didn't constantly have my name in his mouth, I would not give two shits about his documentary, and I wouldn't be reacting to it. Dune the King has done many documentaries over the last year. I haven't reacted to any of them.
X the doubt on that. He was always going to go after Rich. He was always going to go after Rich. It doesn't really matter if he was streaming about him every single day or just the run-ins they had in years ago. DSP is a spiteful little bitch, the Gouty Viper. He was going to patiently wait for his enemies to come up or have their up-and-comings, or if they just completely crash and burn, and he's always going to be there to have something to say about it. I don't know why he just can't be honest about it. Not that DSP knows anything about being honest, but I don't know why he just doesn't come out and say, yes, I pray for people's downfalls, and when it happens, I'm going to react to it, or I'm going to talk about it. Just be honest about it. You're already a spiteful little bitch. Everybody already knows it. Just go ahead, just accept the shit. You know what I'm saying? You're already doing it. Just accept it.
I don't care about those people. You know, I'll let you know, I did watch a couple of them, actually, and I found them very entertaining, but I didn't react to them because
So how are you going to contradict yourself and say, I don't care about those people? If you don't care about them, then why'd you watch it? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, think about that shit for a minute. If you didn't care, you wouldn't have watched it. You watched it for a reason. Just like how when he initially showed his YouTube dashboard, I think this is when he started doing React stuff, he was watching drama content on Boogie, as well as Wings. He did it all back then, but I thought you don't care about those people. Semantics.
if he wasn't obsessed with me, and if he didn't constantly have my name in his mouth, I would not give two shits about his documentary, and I wouldn't be reacting to it. Dune the King has done many documentaries over the last year. I haven't reacted to any of them. I don't care about those people. You know, I'll let you know, I did watch a couple of them, actually, and I found them very entertaining, but I didn't react to them because I didn't think I had anything to really add to them. But this is a case I do. All right? So that's why I'm reacting to this. But, you know, if I had other people joining me, you know, and I'm sure
you mean other people to carry you.
Those guys are going to have a lot more to say, and it might be very negative. But I'm going to, you know, I'm going to let everyone know, you know, what I say, my opinions. They have the right to chime in and say what they want.
So you're going to ride their wave. Now he's going to go ahead and cross his arms to shield himself. Actually, I want you to take this in real fast, too. It's one of DSP's quirks that I've noticed him do a lot. And it comes to the shit when he fucks with his hair. Especially when he lies, and then he immediately tries to fess up to the lie, and then he does this thing with his hair to try to cope himself. It's almost like he's trying to calm himself down. And then he'll go ahead and cross his arms to try to shield himself. Just watch this sequence again real fast.
And if he didn't constantly have my name in his mouth, I would not give two shits about his documentary, and I wouldn't be reacting to it. Dune the King has done many documentaries over the last year. I haven't reacted to any of them. I don't care about those people. You know, I'll let you know, I did watch a couple of them, actually, and I found them very entertaining, but I didn't react to them because I didn't think I had anything to really add to them. But this is a case I do. All right? So that's why I'm reacting to this. But, you know, if I had other people joining me, you know, and I'm sure those guys are going to have a lot more to say, and it might be very negative. But I'm going to, you know, I'm going to let everyone know, you know, what I say, my opinions. They have the right to chime in and say what they want. But it's
and then he crosses his arms to try to protect himself. You see this? For those of you who are actually like watching this, God bless you on that one. If you see that sequence, you see exactly what I'm kind of talking about. It's very, very interesting how he does that shit. And it's not the first time. It's might have been the first time I pointed it out in detail, but it's not the first time that he's done it, to be honest. And like I said, if I had, and besides the hair thing, when he said that if I had other people to react with me and whatnot, that's the safety blanket. And then, oh, well, my opinions are still my own. And that's when he goes ahead and crosses his arms to shield himself. You know what I'm saying? To kind of protect himself from criticism and also to kind of protect the value of his opinion over others, which is really crazy because if that's the case, why couldn't you just do the shit by yourself? Why do you need other people? So it's like another layer of protection. He's like the Gouty Gara, you know what I'm saying? Of the fucking, well, let's see, it'd be Sand. So I guess of the Gout, you know, he's from the Sand Village. So that'd be like the, I don't know, like the fucking, the Gouty Village and shit or whatever. It's like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like how Gara has all those different layers of protection and shit. It's DSP kind of demonstrates some of that same shit. Layers upon layers of excuses, layers upon layers of fucking ways of trying to protect himself or shield himself, or just layers upon layers of people he uses to try to shield himself, or circumstances, if you will. Fucking mental gymnastics on a fucking whole nother level and shit. Wild stuff, man. It's wild stuff.
You know, and I'm sure those guys are going to have a lot more to say, and it might be very negative. But I'm going to, you know, I'm going to let everyone know, you know, what I say, my opinions. They have the right to chime in and say what they want, but it's not representative of how I feel. Like I've told you guys, I don't wish anyone harm, I don't wish anyone at all negativity. I just want everyone to be happy because I feel like if everyone was happy and well adjusted, they would just leave everyone else alone.
Are you happy? Are you well adjusted? No. Not at all. You're the furthest thing from it, but you think that if other people were like that, the world would be a better place. You made it be easier for you to take advantage or manipulate people, and that's the really sick part of it. And that's the reason why he doesn't want people in his audience thinking. He doesn't mind trying to say, oh, you guys are smarter, intelligent people or whatever, but he doesn't really want them thinking, right? He wants them to be complacent. He wants them to cooperate, right? He wants them to be docile. Anything that he says, it just go with it. You know what I'm saying? Just go with it. And then if something pisses you off or whatever, okay, whatever, it's your fault. You took it wrong. You're the problem. And if he can't get that to go over with the audience, all right, I made a mistake. I'm human. I'm sorry. It's, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's gaslighting on like a whole nother fucking level. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, the pignosis is dangerous if you really think about it, especially if you're just a weak-minded person, let alone if you're disabled.
Right? Like, why would you want to have an entire living bringing down others and making fun of people if truly you liked your own life? Why would you need to bring down others?
So then why are you engaging in drama content then? You think that you've taken enough shit that warrants you to do it? You're just as bad as the people who did it to you. And that's another thing about a lol cow. They never look at it as, oh, two wrongs make a right. Right? Like, it's like, oh, well, you fucked me over. I need my retaliation. I need my get back. And now we're even. But you'll never be even. Because they'll hold on to that shit far longer than you do.
You would have positivity and things around you that you're enjoying. You don't need to destroy others to get over.
What's positive? Okay, let's talk about your life. Tell me what your life's like. What's so positive about you? You got the overweight wife that's sick, which is probably why you make all those appointments and shit. You want to talk about the declawed cat that's also sick because you guys can't clean a litter box for shit. You guys are probably either overfeeding him or feeding him the wrong type of food, which is screwing him over. You guys feel you can't even get him a blood test because, oh, he's not sick yet. So what the fuck does he need a blood test for? So that means nobody in that house is more than likely getting a physical, let alone Jasper. So tell me what your life's like. How's it feel to fucking go to your parents each and every week, your mother in particular, and beg for money because a bunch of kids on fucking YouTube fucked your life up because you were too dumb to not somehow safeguard yourself or secure yourself with more than one avenue of revenue? Tell me what your life's like. Tell me how it feels to be fucking hated by everybody on the internet, and it's legitimately your fault. If you didn't say or do the dumb shit, there wouldn't have been people who went ahead and put emphasis on it to in turn for other people to actually find out and you get fucked. You can sit there and blame detractors, trolls, haters, and critics all you want, but if you didn't do the action or say what you said, then there's no problems. There's no issue. It all starts with you. But no, it's not that you said or did the shit. It's the people who went ahead and spread the shit. And you've actually said that. You're actually on record for actually saying that dumb shit. So tell me what your life's like. Tell me what your life's like that you only leave your house once a week and shit. Tell me what your life's like that you fucking have to go to some salon that's out in the fucking ways and shit, so no one really knows who you are and shit. You let some chick give you this Nazi haircut or whatever, right? And you come back and you think that you've actually done something or accomplished something. Tell me what your life's like when you sat there and kind of denied the fact that COVID was even a thing, and then years and years and years later, you basically said that you thought you had COVID or you do have COVID, despite the fact that you wouldn't take a test to prove it. You just went along with it because it was convenient, knowing damn well you didn't have COVID. For example, one of the many examples, tell me what your life's like where you need other people to prop you up and carry you to do everything because you can't do anything. And then you have to sit there and lie and say, this person bought me this person bought me that, this person bought me this, to show their appreciation, but yet you can barely even keep the fucking daily goal going. It's literally down to like 2 or 3 people, and who knows if it's really that many, because God knows who's on a sock account or not, who actually hold you up. Tell me what your life's like. Like, really, tell me what your life's like. Tell me how good your life is, given your fucking circumstances. And I hit you light. I didn't even hit you with the heavy shit.
People who do this is because they're miserable. Their lives are terrible. They're not happy.
If that's the case, and I don't see any, well, Review Tech kind of does beg, but I don't see any of your detractors, troll, haters, and critics begging, at least none lately anyway. I've seen and heard people LARPing in their Discords, but that's Discord. But anyway, so like, tell me, give me a name. Like, point someone out that's actually done something. You're the one up here begging and shit, saying that if you can't fucking hit your goals, You can't buy groceries. You have to eat lunch meat sandwiches and all this other silly shit. Like, who's the real miserable one? Who's the one that's running around here, takes shot at every fucking big YouTuber or Twitch streamer, and then admitted that, oh, it's out of jealousy? And my depression, or your depression, I should say. Tell me how fucking, like, honestly, tell me how happy your life is. Tell me how well-adjusted of a person that you are. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that people who do DSP content are well-adjusted, or anybody who does any low count content is well-adjusted. Because there has to be something a bit off about you to do this silly shit. But at the same time, though, too, who are they actually affecting by going over the dumb shit that dumb people say? And yet again, if those dumb people didn't say or do dumb shit, there'd be nothing to talk about. You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes.
They need to degrade everything around them so they feel better about themselves. Those are bullies. That's literally the definition of a bully. Rich is a bully. Keemstar is a bully. These people are all bullies. They're career bullies, right?
And yet they were still far more successful than you were, have been, or ever will be. What's that say about you? When you sit here and take pop shots at everybody every day, you call for people to get fired. You celebrated on Twitter people being fired. And you got all the repercussions from it. When those guys said stupid shit, and it was hit or miss whether those guys caught anything about anything. Which is what he's really mad about, by the way.
So, I'm fascinated by this story. I want to know what's going on. And I honestly hope that things would get better. But I don't know. Because, again, I don't even know what's going on with this guy. I'm not, at this point now, I see clips of him eating edibles on stream, and he can barely keep his eyes open. It's like, oh, my God, this guy is something else.
Yeah, he's a junkie bitch just like you. I mean, theoretically, you should be sympathizing with him, to be honest. But, whatever.
It's like, this. He thinks this is content. It's like, it's sad. 1 million subs. This guy has 1 million subs.
1 million subs don't mean shit. 1 million subs never meant shit. If you put your existence or your value on subs or a view count, then you have much larger problems than is really recognized. Don't get me wrong. You understand? You should strive for goals and whatever. But once you hit that goal, you should be moving on to something else. And with that particular mindset, then that thing doesn't define you. It's merely just another step to take. When you're learning how to walk, for example, do you really think about how important step number 2, 3, 4, 5 is? Or are you more concerned with going from crawling to walking to jogging to running? I want you to think about that in context.
On YouTube. Holy shit. Anyway, so I'll have more information hopefully soon. I gotta work. Not only do I have to talk with the Kino Casino guys, but a lot of this, again, is hinging on when this documentary will happen for us to be able to arrange anything. So I gotta try to figure this out, okay? Okay. All right, okay, so I covered all that. Oh, all right, so what we like to do, briefly, let's do the schedule for the week. Let's do a little bit about the news. Oh, and people are saying, well, what did you guys talk about and stuff? Go watch their archive stream on Kick. You go watch it right now, Kino Casino. From last night, I think I was only on there for like maybe an hour. I don't know, because it was so late, and then after that, I went right to sleep. I was tired.
And then we had all those late night rendezvous that were over there for like 4 hours or 6 hours and all that bullshit. And then he has this weird obsession with fucking Andy. And then supposedly he wants to do a wrestling podcast with PPP. But PPP is going to blow him out of the water because PPP actually is a wrestling fan. DSP isn't. It's a fucking mess. It's literally a fucking mess.
See, I know that this guy is not real. Hold on. Hold on a second here. FYI, just so you guys know, this guy's not real in chat. He's fake. So I'm going to get rid of him. It's only a month-old YouTube account. And I'm in contact. I'm in contact with those guys already, so. Excuse me. Okay. Today, it's now time for shout-outs. Okay? Let's see. Chill Force this morning with a $20 super chat to get started. Thank you, Chill Force. Says, oh, wait a minute. There we go. The news is over. I love every time you go on Kino Casino on their chat. I can't wait for a collab. My favorite content of yours is when you cover drama topics and provide commentary. Well, for me, I'll be honest, that's not my favorite content. You know, if, again, I feel like I can add something that is insightful.
What a pathetic justification for why he does what he does. Just admit that you were trying to get back. That's all it was. I mean, clearly, to anybody, that's obvious. Just admit it. You know what I'm saying? You can't sit. I mean, you're not gonna justify it to anybody with common sense. Anybody who knows you, or at least knows enough about you, I should say, will be able to deduce that it was clearly just get back. You did it out of spite. You did it out of pettiness. You've been waiting for this to happen. End the story. You can feed it to the dents all you want. That, oh, I'm doing it because of justification. I have a reason behind it. I'm not doing it because I'm a spiteful little bitch who's looking to get back at every little fucking slight against him. Like, you're not beating anybody with that logic.
Because I'm involved in it, right? In the case of...
You're not involved in it. Just because someone called your name out on it doesn't necessarily mean that you're involved. You're involved because you're wanting to involve yourself in this shit. If you were supposedly bigger or above all that shit, then I can understand that you would go ahead and just disregard it and move on. Now, don't get me wrong. You shouldn't let anybody just throw your name on the street like that and do whatever they want with it. I agree that you should not let that happen. And you damn sure shouldn't let people lie on you and whatnot. But let's be honest, Phil. Ain't no one ain't lied on you. If anything, you're the biggest liar out of the bunch. To be honest with you, you're lying now.
Wings of Redemption, that's a situation where I'm parallel to the guy. We make content at the same time. You know,
you're not involved. You what the fuck? We went from if I have insight on the situation or if I'm somehow involved in it. You're not involved with Wings because you guys make content at the same time or because you guys were on the same MCN at the same time. The only real... You're such a fucking retard. The only real connection between Wings and DSP was when Wings in 2015 asked for DSP to come on to their podcast. It was Wings, Whiteboy 7th Street, Eddie, and Jive Turkey. And DSP lied to them and said that he couldn't do it because he was sick. And so Wings was like, oh, well, we could reschedule. And DSP's like, oh, well, I don't know if I'm going to be well enough by then either. So they were like, oh, okay. So you're scheduling your sickness in advance? All right, whatever. And that's that. But he don't want to bring that up because it makes him look like a scumbag because he outright lied to them. Instead of just being a man and saying, yeah, I'm not interested. Thanks anyway. Instead, he basically tried to tell them to fuck off and whatnot, and then went on his merry little way and shit. And then got mad because they had something to say about that shit.
We know the same people. We've been through drama. I can add context and perspective to all of that, correct? There you go. The review tech thing, this is something he has involved me in his life. I didn't involve him. I could care less who the guy is. I just want him to leave me alone, and I've only said that about 4,000 times in the last 10 years. He cannot keep my name out of his mouth. So now it's time for him.
And that's not even the truth. Well, it is the truth, but it's not the full truth. The reason why DSP has this problem with review tech is because over the Pokemon Sun and Moon situation. When Review Tech called him out on Twitter. DSP actually made a response video about that shit, crying and complaining and bitching, and then he, at the end of it, apologized and this, that, and the third. But on top of that, allegedly, Panda Lee was following Rich back in those days. And given that Rich seems to be responsive to every woman who will reach out to him, despite their age, allegedly. It's funny how, is it possible that Panda may have messaged Rich, because they were following each other at one time, allegedly. Did she message Rich and then did Rich message her back? Did DSP find out about it? Did DSP get jealous about it? I'm just throwing it out there.
To get his time in the firing line. And it's his own fault.
They may have never actually spoken. But I'm just putting it out there. Maybe they did.
Right? So, I absolutely have a reason to react to that one, and I will be doing it. Okay? So that's coming up, and thank you, Chill Force, for the super chat this morning. Wow. I received, let's see here. Listen to this. I just received a $100 tip. Holy shit. And this person has a big story to tell. Okay? So let's see what they have to say. Thank you so much. An insanely huge, supportive $100 tip. First of all, let's see if I can get this to play. Yes. I'm feeling better today. I can dance. Yesterday, I didn't feel good. Today, I can actually dance. Feel much better today. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
you look.
Listen to this. This person says their name is Jason. So let's get Jason on the leaderboard. Let's read their story. And thank you so very much. What an insanely generous contribution here today to start. That is awesome of you. Okay. My name is Jason, and I'd like to tell you my story a bit. I discovered you through It's a Gundam. That's another guy, for the record. I know nothing about that person whatsoever. I've never seen a piece of content. I don't know anything about who they are, what they do.
You're a liar, because you said you knew what his voice sounded like, and it sounded weird, and you said you associated it with somebody else. I don't know if it's someone on like the Howard Stern show or whatever. Why do people lie about stupid shit like that? Like, that's so fucking retarded. You're gonna sit there and accuse this person of something, but you say you don't know nothing about them. Then you go on to proceed to describe who the person is and what they do. Jesus Christ, it must be something that dents do.
I just know that they literally rag on me all the time, just like Rich does. And
but how would you know if you don't watch the content?
And I don't know what the fuck their problem is. They try to interject themselves into the Screw Attack, or the Sidescrollers interview that I had. I'm like, who are you? Well, first of all, why do you sound like Yucko the Clown? Because you do. You sound exactly like Yucko the Clown from the Howard Stern show. And
you mean the same show that you try to steal from for years and years on end and shit, until you end up having to fucking admit that you actually stole his shit when you fucked up with Blip TV? I don't even need to get into that. I don't need to get into my lore bag on that nonsense. If you know, you know. You mean that shit? Just double tapping Howard Stern yet again, huh?
Why do you constantly try to interject yourself into my life? You're a loser. Get the fuck out of my...
How's he interjecting in your life by commenting on the dumb shit you do? I don't... Whatever. I'm answering my own question.
My life and keep my fucking name out of your lips. You incredible asshole. But anyway, I discovered you through It's a Gundam. I started coming to your streams and seeing what the big deal was. I admit I was a detractor, leaning due to how I discovered you. Oh, I was detractor leaning due to how I had discovered you. I got banned pretty much right away about 2 years ago. I probably deserved that. I thought I was being a shithead. Anyway, I was in the Kino Casino chat, and you came by with when you were doing the Mr. Beast Bars review. For those who don't know, I want to say it was like Friday of last week, and this was when I just heard of who these Kino Casino guys were, and I heard that they had reacted to my reaction to Rich previously, so I went to check out their live stream on Kick just on a whim, and they were actually...
You mean like how you just checked out their stream the other night, or the night before this actually, and just happened to catch them streaming? Like, why would you... It's too easy. it's just so easy. It really is. It really is. And that's unfortunate, because there is no, like, the thrill of the hunt is diminishing by the day, because he's so lazy now, and he doesn't have any fight left in him, which is the reason why he's so desperate to latch himself onto somebody else. Oh, it's unfortunate. Possibly the end of an era, if you think about it. Possibly. But with every door that closes, another one opens.
I'm gonna do when I reviewed the Feastables bar earlier this year. Remember, I did 2 Feastables bars review on DSP Reacts. So they were reviewing that, they were watching and reacting to it, and I dropped in and started talking in their chat when that was happening. Okay, so that's what he's describing here. I gotta admit, seeing you as a normal guy interacting with people who you don't have a bias against, or no, people who don't have bias against you, has actually changed my viewpoint on you.
This tip sounds so suspect. This tip sounds so suspect.
You're a good guy, just trying to make your way through a crazy, cruel world like the rest of us, and I want to officially apologize for my previous detracting. I hope to see you play Tekken with Andy. Have a great day and keep your head up.
Now, I will say this. Are some of these supposed reform troll messages true? I couldn't tell you. Troll remorse is a thing, to be honest. I've seen a lot of it. to be honest with you, more than I'm willing to admit, to be honest with you. But troll remorse is a thing. Is it really a thing with Darksydephil, or is it as prevalent as he makes it sound? No, it's really not. Most people will just stop making content or just stop interacting with detractors altogether. Going to Darksydephil and apologizing and begging for mercy and shit, or throwing yourself for the mercy on the court or whatever the fuck it is not a thing, to be honest with you. I think it's a delusion that he has that he would wish would happen and it won't. You know what I'm saying? Like, any detractor with a name is not going to ever do that shit. I mean, DSP may fantasize it, but fantasize about it, but it's never going to happen. So,
well, here's the weird thing about all that. Like, that's how I am every day on my own streams. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a normal dude. I'm not here pulling stunts. I'm not here lighting fires. I'm not here doing pranks. I'm not causing drama. I'm just playing games, just having a fun conversation. Like, that's me. That's the real me. You know? The old Phil of yesteryear, who used to do all kinds of stupid shit. You know, constant sexual commentary.
Speaking of which, there's another theory out there. It is, and I think it is a theory where, which is kind of based off something that I said. I'm not saying that they got it directly from me, but I'm just going to put it out there. I said that DSP was purposely sandbagging playthroughs, so this is how you don't play, would have less and less to work with, and he's watered down his personality, so we would have less to pull from. But DSP can't really control that. Well, the theory is that one of the reasons why there might be diminishing returns or interest in DSP, and maybe even his detractor community, depending on how you look at it, is because the fact that DSP purposely has dumbed himself down to make himself less controversial. But the thing is that's not really the case. I do think that interest may have waned since some of the bigger stuff that has come out, to be honest. And the lore is just so vast that you can't cover it all. It's just not possible. You know what I'm saying? It's just not possible. That's the reason why it's fragmented the way it is. That's why, like, Tevin has complete and utter real estate of all of it for the most part, because not only was he around to watch a lot of it, but also what was going on in Freedom Chat, what was going on Skype, what was going on Twitter. That's stuff like Alt, like that's stuff that Alt can't get. Like, you know what I'm saying? He can hope that some of that shit's archived and he may find some of it, but he's never going to find all that shit. It's just not possible. So he's going to have to get all that shit second or third hand. Alt can go back as far as he needs to go through videos, try to go through archives, go through all that, but he's not really giving you the full picture. This is no shot against him. But really what it is he's giving you a snapshot of what happened in a moment of time. He really can't tell you what led up to that. You know what I'm saying? And that's not his fault. It's just not available to him. You know what I'm saying? Because how fragmented, like, a lot of that lore is. And then a lot of the shit that I do is really just stuff I pull from videos and from other places as well and whatnot. I've been fortunate enough with the situations that I've chosen that I can give you the majority of the picture, but even I can't give you all of it. You know what I'm saying? And most of my shit, I got to be honest, I got from Tevin, I got from Theo, I got from Arjun, I got from those who came before me. So there's that. And so without the lore, I think it doesn't make it nearly as interesting, to be honest with you. The day-by-day shit kind of comes across as just mediocre, or just comes across as mediocre and even just casual, because that's really what it is. And that's what the appeal to normies are, I think. Because getting into deeper lore, man, requires so much extra shit. So much nuance and whatever, that, like I said, it's not possible for one person to be able to catch everything. That's not possible. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I hope one day Tevin will completely reestablish, like, all the stuff that he's unlisted on his main channel. And then still, you got to go through and watch it to get all of it, because there's so much there. There's so much offhanded lore that Tevin's constantly throwing out. And if you could put it together with other stuff, man, you can get the full picture.
And shit like that, you know, those days are long gone, right? And I wish, that's what I've said this over the years, I just wish that I could do what everyone else gets. You know what I'm saying? Like, everyone.
But you're not like everybody else, though, and you don't conduct yourself like a normal person. So why the fuck would you want to benefit from them? And I thought you were like, aren't you supposed to be the exception to the rules? You're the 1 in a million. You're the lucky one or whatever. Well, there's a price to be paid for that. If you want to be a unique fucking snowflake, and excluded from everybody else because you're different, you're special, whatever the fuck, then you have to take everything that comes with that. You don't get to have all of those accolades and get everything else that the standard person gets. It doesn't work that way.
Everyone else can hang out and have fun. Everyone else can go on someone else's show and just shoot the shit. Anyone else can be a guest. Anyone else can collab. Anyone else could do a lobby with someone in Street Fighter and not have their detractors go mass harass the person for a month straight.
But it's funny how Brian never complained about being harassed. You're complaining for him. I'm sorry, is Brian not smart enough to go ahead and decipher or to figure out that he's being harassed by people? Is that what you're saying? You're saying that Brian's just so fucking low IQ that he can't tell the difference? Same thing with like Craig and Sidescrollers. Were they so low IQ that they couldn't figure out that they were being harassed the whole time? Is that what that is? That's the way he makes it sound. So I'm just asking.
You know, that's normal activity. Like, you can just do that stuff and do fun stuff with life. I'm not allowed to do that. Just like I'm not allowed to have a sponsorship or a partnership.
You mean the same sponsorships and partnerships that you said are for shills, for sellouts, and that's the reason why? Do you want to go back to the fucking State of Decay, the State of Decay 2 debacle? You want to go back to that nonsense again? Because it's funny, because your reasoning behind that was your depression because you and Kat wanted to go out and do something and she got sick. Someone on Twitter told you about these people who were able to play the game like 7 days early, and you got triggered, and then that's what led to that nonsense. You really want to go that route?
You may notice that every once in a while, I'll do something incredibly stupid and out of character, and you say, why the hell did Phil do that? Things were going good, and, you know, why would Phil do something really stupid like that? And by the way, as I'm talking about this, I'm actually crushing the fuck out of this stress ball, because it's the first time I've ever actually publicly talked about this. You know, I'll do something dumb and out of character for no reason. And, you know, to the logical person looking in from the outside who's a fan, why did Phil fucking do that, right? Why did Phil insult this person? Why did Phil do this? Why did Phil do that? And there's a lot to do, stress and emotion. But there's this self-destructive tendency for people who actually have depression. And I'll give you a perfect example, and you can choose to believe me or not. This is not an excuse, and I own what I did. But about a month ago, I made an incredibly stupid fucking tweet publicly on Twitter. The tweet said that anyone who was playing State of Decay 2 early was a shill and getting paid to do so, and I would be playing the game later in the week, and I'm not getting paid, so my opinions will be valid. All right? I know that's a false statement in my head. I know that's a false statement. 100% I know that that tweet is factually incorrect. All right? The actual thought that I wanted to relay was that when people play games early, they're making extra money because they're the only people able to play the games. Therefore, they're basically making a paycheck for playing a game early. It's an elitist practice. I don't agree with it. I've always said early release copies are horse shit. You shouldn't have an elitist group of streamers and reviewers who get these games early, that everyone should have to buy the game on release date, and that way we can all get legitimate opinions of the game on release date. And also, consumers should have self-control. They shouldn't be running out actively to buy every game on release date just to be part of the hype of the release. They should wait a day or two for other people to buy the game, give their honest reviews about it, then decide if they want to buy the game or not. That's my actual full informed opinion about pre-release games. Now, you can agree or disagree, and that's perfectly fine. But what I just said is far less inflammatory than everyone playing a pre-release copy of State of Decay 2 is a fucking, you know, a shill. And, you know, I'm the only person who basically isn't doing it, so watch my stream on Friday, okay? And I know that. I know that putting that out on Twitter is going to cause trouble. I know that, logically, in this head. I know. That's stupid, you know? But I did it anyway. And it wasn't a mistake. It wasn't a mistake that I put that on fucking Twitter. No, sir, it wasn't. That was my depression pulling me out of a positive moment of my life. At that very moment, all right, when that happened, okay, I was on time off. I wasn't streaming. And I was actually spending time with Kat. And we were actually doing fun stuff. But, what happened was things weren't going as planned. Like, we had plans of things that we wanted to do during those 3 days that I had off from streaming. And sadly, they didn't all work out. And it's personal reasons. I'm not going to explain what it was. But there was basically some negative stuff going on. That, like, here's something that we've been planning for, like, a month. You know, really looking forward to. Hoping for an amazing time together. And then, fuck me, something goes wrong. and now it's not as amazing as we wanted it to be. In fact, it was way less amazing than we actually wanted it to be. So here I am, waking up one morning while we're on our time off, feeling miserable because we're not having as good of a time as we really should have. And I'm having these terrible feelings again of maybe I don't deserve it. Maybe I don't deserve the time off. Maybe I don't deserve, you know what I mean? Maybe I don't deserve any success. Maybe I don't deserve the time off. Maybe I just deserve to be a slave for the rest of my life, to always be behind on finances and back taxes, and to have a horrible existence for the rest of my life. Maybe I just deserve it. And I'm feeling this depression in my head. And then someone tells me, Phil, are you aware? I know that your big comeback from your time off is you're going to play State of Decay 2. Are you aware that there's like 4 people already playing it on Twitch, and one of them has 18,000 viewers and already made like $4,000 in 10 minutes from cheer subs and tips? And I hear that, and here it is. Boom, self-destruction. Let's do it. Go right to Twitter and make that tweet that I know is wrong. It's not how I feel. Let's do it. And that's exactly the kind of stuff that happens to me. And it's not just me. This kind of shit happens to a lot of people who have depression, where you're in a moment of weakness and your depression takes over. It actually takes over. It makes you do shit that's out of character and normally you wouldn't want to do. And you know there's nothing good that's going to come of it, yet you do it anyway. And then you look at it afterward and you go, what the fuck did I do that for? Oh, fuck. Here we go again, right? And this has happened to me many times in my life. I remember there was one time, all right, when something really bad happened to me. And I had a friend who was being very nice to me and had previously been real close to me or whatever. And I actually shut that friend off completely and never spoke to them again. And it had nothing, that friend did nothing wrong at all, whatsoever, but self-destruction. My body, my depression told me, you don't deserve to have that friend anymore. And I stopped talking. No, this isn't anyone you guys know. Oh, it's John Rambo. No, nothing like that. But this was someone who for months was a really good friend to me. You know, may have even blossomed into something else. And I shut them completely off and I deleted their fucking name and number from my phone. And I never spoke to them ever again. By the way, this was back before even, this was a really long time ago. So it wasn't like, oh, I would have texted him or whatever. I blocked them on Instant Messenger because that was how all the kids talked back then. Or blocked her on Instant Messenger. And that was it. Never spoke to them again. And that was purposely because I wanted to hurt myself. You know? And the problem is, with people who have extreme depression, that's when you get to the point, it's not just mental, it becomes physical. And that's when you get people who do physical things to themselves, physical harm and stuff, okay? And, you know, sometimes it gets to the point where it hounds you and it actually haunts you so badly you just can't put up with it anymore. No, it's like, no matter what I do, no matter how much I fight and I strive, you know what I mean? I'm always going to feel awful in the back of my head. I could end up being the most successful person on planet Earth and my brain will never allow me to feel good about myself. And I think that, honestly, is a lot of the people who end up going to that extreme. That's what it is. They see no way out. It's the endless trap of no matter how much I succeed, no matter how well I do, I will always feel like shit. And that's their way out, is the ultimate step of hurting themselves, you know, losing their own lives. And that's terrible, you know.
Really want to play with that, champ? Because I'll go 12 rounds with you on that. I mean, you're not going to get past the third round, but you know what I'm saying? Whatever, for the sake of argument. I say, you got to remember, son, that you know what I'm saying? The belt comes with the waist.
If I ever do, the detractors go harass the fuck out of the company. And even though there have been times when the company outright says to me, we have no problem with you, we just can't deal with your detractors, I suffer for it, right? That's actually what happened when I was partnered with Curse for a year after the Machinima fallout.
You mean 18 months. And truth be told, you weren't making them any money anyway, hence the reason why they got rid of you. That's really what happened. I mean, yeah, the troll reports and everything were coming in, and he admits to that, but then he also admitted that he actually told them this. Hey, can't you just ignore those troll reports? Can't you just disregard all that? You know they're all fake or they're all meaningless anyway. Could you just disregard those things? And I think when he said that, that just made them be like, no. Nah, we can't do that because let's say if they actually catch you on something, we have to respond to it. And I think that made them look at him sideways and be like, yeah, he's probably not someone we should keep around. Because you can't tell that to someone who runs a business, right?
It wasn't like anything happen negative because of this. You literally just wasted both of our time. So screw off, basically. And the guy goes back to me and says, oh, how dare you call me a hater or a troll? I'm a real fan. I think you need to seek the help, Phil. And I just facepalm myself and I'm like, this guy must be insane. Like, he must actually have mental issues or something. Because the fact that he actually, like, thinks this is trolling or funny. But see what I mean? Like, this is the level of person that fucks with me. And it's sad. It really is sad that when there are people who collectively put their time together to do this stuff, they can actually concretely hurt me, because they have. You guys may not realize this, all right? But people like this have hurt me a lot. Earlier this year, I had a few sponsorship opportunities through various different avenues, and when those sponsorship opportunities arose, all right, these people basically jumped up and said, you know, oh, Phil's a pedophile, Phil's a racist, Phil's this, and they would spam those companies who wanted to basically do sponsorships with me with this stuff. Now, to the normal person, you see this, you're like, what the fuck? It's a bunch of insane people. Where did this cloud of insane people come from doing this nonsense? You know, but let's face it, even if all that stuff's untrue about me, which it is, what company would want to deal with me when you have to deal with this mob of insane fucking people who follow me around, right? And that's what happened all this year with sponsorship opportunities, with my partnership with Curse, where they had to drop me from their partnership because of the trolls. You know, like, that's what I mean. Like, it's fucked up that these people who actually are mentally ill somehow have formed this collaborative group of just insane people who hate me for no real concrete reason. There's no explanation for it. It's just insanity. It's a collective insanity movement. And they do what they do just for the sake of hurting me. And it's awful, you know? And that's the thing, like, this situation... Okay, then. All right, let's get you up. It's the only tip of the day, a $1 tip. Surprisingly enough, I'm not 100% against taxation. I understand that it has a place. It just sucks because the situation I'm in is not a situation that... It's just a bad situation based on cascading problems. People trolling me over the years, completely screwing over my YouTube channel repeatedly, you know, forcing me to lose income, trolling me and making me lose my partnership with Curse, trolling me and making me lose the ability to do sponsored streams on Twitch. So all these income sources that I should very rightly have pretty much shut off to me now because of trolling. Then we had the tax attorney who fucked me over, who did my taxes wrong for 3.5 years. And that put me into thousands and thousands of dollars of back debt with state taxes, plus fees and shit on top of it that I didn't have the money to pay. And that's what put me into the situation now with the federal taxes. So it's like, am I actually angry at the federal government for taxing me? No, I'm actually not. I'm angry at the fuckers who actively hurt me, thinking that it was funny trolling, when in reality what they did is they completely screwed over my income and caused these cascading problems. And yes, I am very fucking angry at that tax attorney that fucked me over. You know, it sucks. It's a shitty situation based on shitty factors that I didn't control at all. It's not that I didn't want to pay taxes properly. The asshole did my taxes wrong, you know. You win without them. Yeah, you know. I mean, we all know what happened with Twitch. I don't want to sit here and dwell on it. I have no idea what the fuck they were thinking. It's obvious what they said was false, because when I asked for justification, they wouldn't provide any. Here is, very simply, a way to go through life and know what's the real deal with stuff. If someone says this is what happened, you say, okay, show me what you're talking about, evidence, and they will refuse. It's because there's no evidence. It's that simple. They made it up. They're full of shit. There was no reason for them to not say, oh, well, we did an investigation and we said that you were constantly using hate speech and that's why we kicked you out of the partner program. Okay, well, you didn't ban me from the site or punish me otherwise because it would be against your terms of service. So can you provide the evidence of what you're saying? No, they never responded because there is none. They just wanted me out of the partner program. For some reason, they felt that there was a liability there. Likely it was because the amount of trolls that were messaging them on a daily basis, making shit up about me. And they were like, this guy, you know, gets so many complaints that we have to keep investigating. We just want him out. This is exactly what happened with my Curse partnership. I did nothing wrong at all. Curse outright said, we know you've never done anything wrong on YouTube, but you get so many false reports, we can't handle them anymore. We got to kick you out. You know? So, it's that simple. If someone accuses you of something and then won't prove it with facts, it didn't happen. They're full of shit. Well, ladies and gentlemen, now I'm going to reveal to you some of the stuff that happened behind the scenes that I've not talked about whatsoever until right now. The full story of what happened between me and YouTube and my partnership network, Curse. Because I never told you the truth. I didn't feel like it was going to benefit anyone until right now to tell you what actually happened. Okay? For those of you who don't know, around this summer, I had to leave Curse. Curse was my partnership network on YouTube. They provided me with the highest paying advertisements of the whole, website on my videos. I was making good money and everything was good. Never once did I ever get a complaint from Curse that I had done anything wrong. Everything was good. Everything was in line. They were making money on me. I was making, decent money on YouTube. It wasn't as good as it used to be, but it was a certain consistent level every month so that, okay, if YouTube stays consistent and my Twitch is going up every month, now I can afford maybe pay down those credit cards and afford my taxes and everything would have been fine. So here's what happened. Okay. I think it was about July, I want to say. It might have been June, but I think it was about July. I got contacted by Curse. Now, this is the first time I'd ever been contacted by Curse, like, personally about stuff. And they said that we need to talk to you. And it's not something that we want to put in writing. It's something that we actually want to talk to you man-to-man about because of the seriousness of it. I was like, oh my God, what could this possibly fucking be? Right? So I went ahead and I had a conference call with Curse and their management and everything. And basically, here's how the situation went. And none of this is in writing because they said they couldn't put it in writing. This was something they wanted to be informal on a call. But basically, they said, here's the deal, Phil. We know who you are. And we know you've been around for 10 years. And we actually like your content. Like, we know who you are and what you're all about. And we support you. And since you signed on with us a year and a half ago, because at that point it had been almost a year and a half that I was with them, there have been many times when people have tried to come up against you and say that you do horrible things on YouTube, and they've false flagged your videos and they've said all this negative shit. Now, because we're your partnership network, all right, we have to review those cases to actually find out what's going on. And the bottom line is we have gotten to know you over the past year and a half because we review your cases so much for all the false flagging. We know you don't do anything wrong. We've seen your content and we know that everything is good. In fact, your content is getting more in line with being more acceptable on YouTube. You don't do the risque stuff, the more adult-oriented sexual content and stuff like that you used to do back in the day. You've changed for the better. And I kind of explained to them, you're absolutely right, because the reason that I did that was because Twitch. I wanted to be a part of Twitch. I wanted Twitch to be a major thing, my streaming, and I had to kind of conform more to what their terms of service were going to be. And doing that, I have to kind of, not water myself down, but become less of a provocateur and more of just an entertaining, chill streamer. And they understood that. They said, yeah, we can actually see that from when we watch your videos. You get all these false flags that you did these terrible things. We look at your video, nothing like that at all. Your actual streaming content is good. Okay? But basically, here's what happened. They said, here's the problem. In 2018, YouTube has completely changed their mentality when it comes to partnership networks. Okay? It used to be that partnership networks were a great positive for YouTube, that YouTube would basically say, if you really want to have ads on YouTube, you really should be with a partnership network, because that puts the responsibility on the partnership network to make sure that all the content coming out on YouTube is kosher. And it's the partnership network's responsibility to make sure if one of their partners screws up, to make sure that that partner gets in line, and it can actually be held against the partnership network. If, let's say, for example, I put out a video where I'm naked and I'm obviously violating YouTube's policy, then Curse would have gotten in trouble for that. Okay? But the good news is I never did anything like that. Everything I ever did was in line with YouTube's terms of service or whatever. Never had a problem. But what I was being told was, ladies and gentlemen, get ready. Once again, my business has been massively negatively affected by the trolls who claim that they don't mean to hurt me, that what they're doing is just to make me improve or whatever. So here's what actually happened with Curse, all right? Curse in 2018 had to institute a new policy, a new agreement they had with YouTube, that if they were going to continue to operate, they had to now manually review every single report that came in for one of their partners. Okay? So here's what would happen. I would do a stream, And during that stream, something would piss off a troll or something would piss off one of the people who illegally steal my content. And they would basically make a meme out of something that happened on a stream. And then those people watching that stream would go mass report me to YouTube saying that I did something wrong during that stream in line with like that meme or whatever was going on. And Curse would get 100, 200 reports in one day that I did something wrong, all saying the same memes. A lot of them were basically copy and pasted from different YouTube accounts, but the same thing over and over. So they would get 100, 200 things on their fucking desk and say, what the hell is this? What, you know, and they would start looking at them and say, this isn't legit at all. It's all bullshit against Phil. It's people basically trolling Phil, but because of our new agreement with YouTube, behind the scenes, we now have to manually investigate every fucking case. And we have to close each one manually. Now, initially, Curse backed me and said, you know, this is not Phil's fault that this would happen. This is, you know, he's not doing anything wrong. We're looking at his content. There's nothing wrong with his content. He's not inciting these people. These are people who literally just make their living or get their jollies off of making fun of Phil. And they start these negative memes and then mass report to YouTube just as a trollish measure to see if they can hurt him. And they backed me to a point. But basically what they said is it got to the point where there were certain things going on. For example, the state tax situation, where then they would mass report, oh, Phil is scamming his viewers in this video, go check it out. And there'd be, you know, 100 fake reports. And the person from Curse would spend all fucking day having to manually close 100 reports from 100 different YouTube accounts saying that I had violated the terms of service when I didn't. And it basically got to the point where the actual manpower of closing false logs against me was more expensive than keeping me as a partner. So they were making money on me, but the money they were making was less than the manpower it took for them to have to manually close all these logs. And I said to them, well, you know, in this case, this is a special case, obviously, would it actually be a bad thing for you to just ignore it? Because you know I've been here for 10 years. You know I rely on YouTube income to make my living. I need this income. So if you were to, say, just ignore those reports and not have to put in those hours or whatever, save yourself the money, right? And they said, no, we can't do that because God forbid I have a bad day and this is the day when I actually do violate the YouTube terms of service or something. If I get in trouble, they get in trouble. And they said, we can't have a person, you know, as a liability, especially someone like me who wasn't making them a lot of money. Let's be honest. I'm a small-time guy now on YouTube. I'm not a huge guy anymore. And they said, you know, not that you don't make us money, you don't make us a ton of money. If you were making us tens of thousands of dollars a month hand over fist, then maybe we would be willing to put up with it. But for the amount of money you're making us, there's no way that we can risk that one day we don't review something that you did and then it becomes legit. And now we get slammed financially from YouTube with fines and fees or maybe get penalized because of that. So basically, we had talks, okay, back and forth for about a month and a half. And after about a month and a half of talks, Curse said, we're sorry, Phil. You've done nothing wrong. We like your content. But because we have to basically start now trimming people who are not cost effective to keep, we have to basically kind of agree to end the partnership. And I said, I guess I agree, but this sucks. And they said, yeah, basically, Phil, you're not ever going to be able to get partnered ever again. Because now that this is known, what company is going to do that? Because they know people are going to false report you. And it's the thing is, when you're on your own YouTube channel with your own ads, your own AdSense, that goes through YouTube's report system, which is so terrible anyway. Most of the time, they don't even review things that get reported. And when they do, it's a quick cursory glance. You know what I mean? So that's basically what Curse told me. They were like, if you go by yourself, if you don't have a partnership on YouTube and you just do your own ads, you're actually safer than you are with us. Because with us, we have to manually review everything. With YouTube, chances are they don't even review it anyway. A lot of people, you know, this happens to them, they're fine. So this is what happened, is I lost my Not that it was super lucrative or anything, but I was making a lot more money on YouTube when I was with Curse than when Curse had to release me from their network. And it was not anything I did wrong. Curse didn't want to get rid of me. It was 100% these fucked up people who steal my content, restream my content, say negative shit about me, and incite these thousands of people to go false report me to YouTube for stuff I didn't do. Okay? That's what got me out of Curse, as fucked up as it is. Now, if you guys remember, at that time, when Curse finally did release me from my partnership, everything went wrong on YouTube. YouTube had frozen an AdSense account for invalid click activity that didn't exist. They had actually erroneously frozen it. It took me 3 weeks to get Google employees off their lazy asses to actually fix that issue, which was their internal issue. It was never anything I did wrong. They fucked up. And that was 3 weeks of money that I didn't make on YouTube. Then when the ads came back, it took forever to get them to work properly, and I had a giant dip in income from the months of July through all of August on YouTube because of all this happening. Now, when I finally came back and was able to monetize my videos again, I said, I'm going to do something positive for the viewers. I'm going to make longer videos, okay? But what ended up happening was, because I made longer videos and uploaded way less videos a day, my revenue also dipped. So it was a combination. Number one, I wasn't with the partnership network anymore, so my money went down. Number two, I didn't have ads on YouTube for 3 weeks because YouTube screwed me over. And then finally, when they fixed everything, I was doing longer videos, and that hurt me too. So it was like the triple fucking whammy of things that all happened at once. And my YouTube revenue went from being here to being nothing to being like here. So not even, like, less than half, okay? And I'll be honest with you, things got slightly better the last couple of months on YouTube. The reason being, there's two reasons. Number one, because it's the holiday season and there's just more ads to go around on YouTube, so my YouTube did artificially kind of increase a little bit income-wise. The other thing is, YouTube, guys might not have heard this, basically changed the ad policy and made it so that everyone gets the same ads now. So even though I'm not with Curse anymore, I pretty much am kind of getting around the same ads that I would have gotten. Okay, maybe, I don't know, because there's no way I could compare because I'm not with them anymore. I don't know what ads that they're getting or not. But they did this big internal change saying that basically people who monetize should be getting around the same ads now because I guess they've determined it was an unfair practice that being with a partner company got you better ads. Like I said, the big internal push this year, YouTube anti-partner company for some reason. So not only did they make them now monitor every single report, now they made it so that everyone gets the same ad. So what's the incentive of being with a partnership company anymore? I don't know.
That's like saying, oh, I have a bunch of problems with people in my office and shit, right? That's on my floor, I should say, in the office setting that I work in. I have a shitload of problem with all these people, right? So when they start throwing HR reports on me, disregard those things because up till now, allegedly, those things have been false. Well, what happens when the actual one comes in? Oh, well, I'll try to explain that away, which is what he tried to do, which is what he was trying to tell Curse. But for now, because there's so many invalid complaints, just disregard those things. Don't even worry about it. And I think that made whoever the representative at Curse that he spoke to, I think that made that wary of him. And you should. You should be wary of somebody like that. There's a reason why most people don't talk like that.
I was partnered with Curse for a year on YouTube as my partnership company, and they literally dropped me saying your detractors constantly contact me all the time, like nonstop. So we can't be bothered with that anymore. We have to let you go. Exactly. I can't play Fight Game. Why? Because my detractors would find a way to reverse engineer it to get my IP address because they're loser.
Sounds like paranoia, if you ask me.
So the thing is, I am a normal guy.
And the truth is, more often than not, he can't even beat his detractors. Like, that's the real thing when it comes to fighting games that he won't tell you. He really can't beat these guys. You know what I'm saying? If you go all the way up to Evil AJ and all the way down to, well, not all the way down, but, if you talk about a generational type thing, you know what I'm saying? You got Evil AJ, then you start getting into, and then the guys that kind of followed him, then you get into Goji Tanks, big ups to Goji. You get up to Goji Tanks, then you get up to Lady Gambit, you get up to Ryu Walks Alone, you get into those guys and whatnot. Then you start getting into your Piece of Pieces, your Raw Fills, and those guys, and they've all cleaned him up at one time or another. Sure, everybody there has taken a loss in one way, shape, or form, but they always bounce back and they got better. DSP didn't. So he can't even beat the opposition. That's what he's really mad about. He's mad that he really can't beat these guys. You know what I'm saying? He can scrape a win off them every once in a while, but he's not beating them. He's not showing growth and consistency in his game knowledge or in his gameplay. That's what bothers him. That's what bothers him about Street Fighter 6 as a whole.
I would love to do all those.
If anything, especially as a current, he's regressing. He's not actually growing. He's regressing.
Things. I can't do them because of these mental cases. These really ill people who won't let go of me. And I don't think at this point there's anything I can really do to change that besides other people of intelligence, logic, and matter-of-factness seeing this situation for what it is from the outside and saying, what is wrong with this people? These people need to be called out and stopped.
Basically what he said, great screenshot. Basically what he's saying is, I need other people to fight my battle for me. That's what this is. Let me bring it back. That's literally what he's saying. I need other people to fight the fight for me. I'm too tired. I'm too old. I'm too beat down. I need other people to fight the fight for me.
Like non-stop. So we can't be bothered with that anymore. We have to let you go. Exactly. I can't play Fight Game. Why? Because you know my detractors would find a way to reverse engineer it to get my IP address because they're losers. You know? So the thing is, I am a normal guy. I would love to do all those things. I can't do them because of these mental cases. These really ill people who won't let go of me. And I don't think at this point there's anything I can really do to change that besides other people of intelligence, logic, and matter-of-factness seeing this situation for what it is from the outside and saying, what is wrong with this people? These people need to be called out and stopped, right? And I'm seeing that start to happen now.
And see, and this idiot's not even in bed with Kino Casino yet. But this is where the whole nonsense of his redemption arc came into play. He thought, if I can get someone from another section to see things my way briefly, however brief I should say, it may have been, or however fleeting it was, it'll be enough to go ahead and start a chain reaction that maybe, people that are outside of this niche community will actually start turning the scope onto them. And that's why he put so much emphasis on June the King. That's why he put so much emphasis on, hopefully, June the King having a segment where he only goes at his detractors and this, that, and the third. And the thing is, it was a fool's errand, right? It was never going to work. It was never going to work. Like, if Moist Critical came out tomorrow and said, yeah, I think DSP detractors are fucking idiots and assholes and this, that, and the third. Okay, he can catch the smoke too. Mudahar, same thing. He can catch the smoke too. That doesn't change anything. That doesn't stop anything. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I'm sure some people will probably fall back. If they do, they do. But for everybody else, the game keeps going. Whether you choose to go at those individuals or you go ahead and continue to put more pressure on Phil. Either way, they're not stopping shit. So it doesn't mean anything. So that right there changes nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, what? You think fucking Moist Critical's, I don't know how many people that he has, but you think like 1 million of his subs are going to start just now going after detractors and shit? Stop. You're being an idiot. You're being an absolute idiot. They may have their opinions about it in his comment section, but that's probably as far as they'll go. Same thing for anybody else. They will keep that shit isolated to the platform that they're on. And that's Moist Critical's platform, not yours. Some people might go over there and give you a view, and then they're going to find out that you're boring. If they stay around long enough, they're going to figure out you're an asshole. Just like people in Kino Casino's audience eventually came to the realization of. It's a fight you can't win. You've already lost this. You know what I'm saying? You're already dead. You just haven't figured it out yet. Like, you know what I'm saying? The body's dead. The brain hasn't caught up yet.
And that's a great thing because I've only been going through this for over a decade. You know, at this point, it starts off with they had a point. This is how you don't play, had a point. I sucked at games.
How did it have a point when you said it was all lies and slander and they were thieves? Did you forget what your own narrative is? Oh, you think because it's been, what, a decade? You think you get to change your mind on that? Nah, champ. It doesn't work that way. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have to, if you lived by that, you're going to have to die by that. And that's his problem. That's why he wants to try to change the narrative. That's the reason why he wants to show growth or whatever. Oh, I misinterpreted back in the day and it was a mistake, but now I understand. It's too late now. You ain't sat there and spent a decade slandering Evil AJ and everybody else who did this is how you don't play. You don't get to go back on that now. You don't get the do-over. You don't get take backs. You got to live with that.
I was making money sucking. I was making fun of game developers. I was a lazy content creator. The content was immoral and had a lot of nasty commentary. You know, we keep going on and on with all the things they used to say. But then you continue on. Like, so what happened after that? Well, now Phil starts to change for the better. So now we're on to the next thing. Now we're on to the next thing. Now we're on to the next thing. The next thing. The next.
I mean, you keep doing dumb shit. That's really your own fault. To be honest with you, if you didn't do dumb shit, people wouldn't talk about it. I mean, I would, because you have a library of old shit I can always go over. But that's just me, though. If you stop doing dumb shit, most people would leave you alone. Most. Everybody, but most.
Thing. And eventually it became the things that they were saying were bad don't exist.
How do you figure? You didn't stop. You're still e-begging. You're still a liar. Like, the thing about the lying is, like, that shit is damn near the fucking holy grail. I know most people want to focus on WWE champions. Fuck all that. Like, the gambling shit and everything is something that was already well known. I didn't need anybody to prove that to me to know that it was already true. His history already proved it. The lying, the belligerent lying, you know what I'm saying? The pathological lying, the habitual lying is so much more valuable, because now you can literally go back to any period within his time on the internet and literally accuse him of anything, and there's nothing he can do about it unless he just fesses up to it. And most of it he's going to have to. If that's the case, boy, I've got fucking shells of shit in the FGC that he ain't said about people that I know that are lies. Now all I need him to do is admit it. And sooner than later, he's going to have to. And that's going to hurt him even further. Because at the end of the day, he still wants his acknowledgement and recognition. And he may even want some reconciliation with people in the FGC, but he's never going to get it because they've already moved past him. You know what I'm saying? They've already moved on. And he has nothing to add to the current scene in the current year. He never will. He didn't offer them nothing back in the day. So, like, he's literally condemned himself. He's just mad that he's the monkey in the cage that everybody flings the bananas at, right? And he can't do nothing about it. He's got to sit there and eat it. And he hates the shit. And every time he tries to fling his shit back at people or whatever, he gets the taser by one of the fucking zoo guards or whatever the fuck. He's in a lose-lose situation of his own making. You can't win a battle that you can't win a war that you've already lost. You know what I'm saying? You're going back and trying to fight these old battles that don't mean nothing. The only people who give a shit about that are people like me, to be honest. And then I'm out there. I'm already out here waiting. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm out here all day waiting. You know what I'm saying? You got nothing. Got nothing. I have most of the situations down pat. So even if you caught me on a misspoke type situation, which is a thing, right? Or if I end up messing up a date or something, which is a thing, I can still rebound. You know what I'm saying? I can still rebound. Fucking A, you're not winning nothing. So then he has to basically try to win the court of public opinion. It's not working. Like, Jesus Christ. Oh, man. His struggle is probably the most entertaining shit. I gotta tell you. Watching someone try to fight back who clearly can't it's pathetic. It's almost it's almost habitually embarrassing, to be honest with you, more than anything. But I gotta say, for someone like DSP, for someone like Wings, for someone like Review Tech, who really believe that they have a chance, if they can get that one person of statue or of status, that to have their back, they think they can literally turn all that around. That's just the most pathetic thing ever. It just goes to show how little you understand about society. You know what I'm saying? About just people in general. It just doesn't work that way. You're not going to convert someone who agrees with you on one subject to your own personal fucking army. It just doesn't, it's not a thing.
Why? Because they don't care if it's real or not. They're not trying to prove a point anymore. They're not trying to say I'm bad and improve. They're just trying to say he's bad no matter what. Because what's happened is there's this weird parasocial relationship where these people have created a cult-like culture around hating me. They have entire years-long friendships, fan or hater groups, discords, based on shitting on Darksydephil. And the moment that that goes away, where that veil is lifted and was like, oh my God, look at this weirdo toxic shit under here, they lose out on having that kind of association anymore. They won't have that relationship anymore.
That's not even true. It's not fully true because most people don't even participate in those situations. I wouldn't even say that he's completely accurate on how all those situations are. Like, there is a lot of buddy shit that goes on. There is a lot of groups or splinter cells and whatnot that happen. You got a lot of people who just float around Discords in general and whatnot. There's a lot of friend groups and all kinds of shit. That is theoretically true. Not theoretically, it is. And that is true. It's not the hive mind cult shit that he makes it out to be, though. That's literally not true. There are a lot of people who just believe the same shit and whatnot, but all of them kind of came to that same conclusion, hence the reason why they're all together. But that still doesn't make them a hive mind. Because when one of those cats step out of line, they're quick to speak up on it. That's why a lot of the infighting happens. I'm not going to put nobody's names out there on the street on that. But trust me, like, you're at one time or another, maybe or maybe not, one of your favorite detractors got themselves in a situation thinking that people were going to have their back, and they didn't, for whatever reason, and it caused some problems. Eventually, the shit worked out because most detractors are decent people. Not me, but most detractors are decent people. But please believe, there was a lot of people who sat there and thought they had more than what they had, and they gambled and they lost. It happens in all communities, though. I'm not trying to stand up for nobody. I'm not trying to white knight for nothing. But it happens in a lot of communities. But to sit there and say it's a blatant hive mind and everybody's just fucking rabid dogs and shit looking to you know what I'm saying, take down DSP at all costs is not true. Don't be wrong. There are ops that happen, though. And there are ops that are planned quite a bit, to be honest. And again, I won't name no names or throw nothing out there because most of that shit's kind of funny. And some of it is actually kind of interesting depending on how far it goes. But even though it is what it is on that. But it's not, but I think that's very disingenuous for him to say some of the shit that he's saying about it. Because that's blatantly just not true.
You see? So to them, that's their lifestyle. Is every day I just hate on Phil and we make shit up and we try to ruin his life.
And that's not true either, because not every detractor lives and breathes that shit. I mean, I'm sure there are people in there far longer than they need to be, but not every detractor does that, or a detractor, troll, hater, or critic.
That's great. What do you mean that's weird? Well, now the light's finally being shined onto those people.
And this is coming from the same retard, by the way, who wants people to show up to 2 streams, which is the equivalent of, what, 7 or 8 hours each and every day. Does that not sound fucking weird? That sounds crazy as shit. If I don't get a chance to fucking see what Raw Phil is doing, or SnortBucks, or Tevin, or Theo, or Agent Proper, or James Lesser, or whatever, I can come back to it in a few days. I don't need to be there right then and there every single day for that to happen. For him, he expects you, Dents, to be there literally every day to watch all that shit. And feels a certain type of way when you're not there for a period of time. How weird is that? If you don't show up to Tevin's stream for 4 days, when you show back up, does Tevin fucking ask you, where have you been? And what's up with you? Nah. You pop back up, hey man, how you doing? And then he keeps pushing on to whatever he's doing. But DSP's been known to do that. And if you've seen some of those Discord conversations he has with people, he seems real keen to fucking know where people are at. That Gouty Gestapo bullshit. He had that in his first Discord with his mods and shit, where they were fucking squealing on. They were definitely squealing, but those guys were definitely ratting on other members of their fucking of the fucking Snort fort, of the fucking pig of the Gouty orchestra, if you will, and whatnot, keeping tabs on people. DSP back in the day used to call people out on that shit. Oh, I heard that you were hanging out over here. I heard you were over here. Why? What was that about? He blew up at someone. This is real old shit. He blew up at someone because they were in a Maximilian stream when they were supposed to be supposedly on Phil's stream for a particular game. The fuck's that? What the fuck? And I'm sure the guy eventually showed up. But what the fuck you get mad at him for? Because he decided to spend his time in, I feel, better company. Makes you think.
And people are like, what the fuck? Like, listen, the Kino Casino guys, fair enough. They'll make fun of me, and they'll make fun of things that I've done.
And your wife. Don't forget your wife. And your wife.
And stuff. But they have looked at the situation, and they're like, we don't get the detractor shit. We don't. Like, there's a difference between...
They don't have to. Detractor shit doesn't appeal to everybody. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is.
Make fun of the guy for his shortcomings, or literally try to ruin his life and make it he can't do anything because you're up his ass about it constantly.
I didn't ruin your life when you said that sponsorships and endorsements were for shills and sellouts. You said that. That ain't got shit to do with me. I don't talk in absolutes like that. I don't discount opportunities that could come up later on down the line. I don't live like that. I don't carry myself like that. And I don't hang out with people who act like that. So that ain't got shit to do with me.
And that, I mean, if they as outsiders have seen it and recognized it, that's just the tip of the iceberg. That means it's going to start happening everywhere now.
I don't know. That sounds like cope if you ask me. That sounds like a whole lot of cope. Here, let me bring that part back. That sounds like a whole lot of cope.
You're up his ass about it constantly. And that, I mean, if they as outsiders have seen it and recognized it, that's just the tip of the iceberg. That means it's going to start happening everywhere now. And because they're kind of brave to speak up about it, I think what's going to happen...
They're brave for speaking up? They're brave for speaking up. Okay, gotcha.
Happen is you're going to see other people now start to see it as well.
How'd that work out for you 5 months later? Well, 4 months later. I don't know, man. Last time I checked, you had a problem with getting interviews. You had a hard time getting people to talk to you. That's funny. I don't remember anybody from mainstream actually acknowledging anything about anything. Semantics. Let him live in his delusion for the time. Let him have that.
Again, what people used to like to do is group me in with other lolcow people who I'm not. I am not Boogie. I am not Wings. I am not LTG. I don't lean into lolcow shit to make money. I'm the opposite. I don't.
Oh, really? So those rage-a-thons were what exactly? Oh, we must have forgot about that. You forgot about how you used to go ahead and rage bait people to get money for your little marathons and shit? You know what I'm saying? You forgot how to do that? It sounds like a lolcow thing if you ask me. Faking rage so people can come and watch it and give you money? I don't know. That sounds kind of lolcowish to me. That sounds like someone leaning into lolcow behavior. Semantics. If you know, you know.
Want any association with that bullshit. I just want to be left alone.
I think someone dressing up like Mr. Potato Head every day for $100 or $150 sounds like lolcow behavior to me. I don't know.
But no one will leave me alone because they're mentally ill and they get some kind of...
Mentally ill? Weren't you the one that was on the cocktail of medication and shit? Weren't you the one stalking some chick and was talking about doing something drastic? I don't know nothing about that. That sounds like mental illness to me.
Kind of parasocial relationship, not off of me, but off of hating on me with their bully groups.
So what are you trying to say? You're trying to say that if they had a parasocial relationship with you and they were willing to defend you and give you money, you'd be okay with it? That sounds lolcowish to me too. I don't know, Phil. If you want to keep giving me ammo, I'll keep shooting you. It is what it is.
So now the veil's been drawn back and people are seeing the corrupted, disgusting shit that's under there and like, oh man. So I think it's the beginning of the end, quite frankly.
Oh my God. You were praying for the beginning of the end. No, he was claiming victory back in July. Oh, baby. I'm not going to get through all this year, but next year, boy, I'm going to expect more 2024 shit. Because fucking A, we were claiming victory before he was even in bed with them yet. He wasn't even in the bedroom. He hadn't even walked through their front door yet. And he was already claiming victory. But yet again, this right here reflects what he was hoping to get out of Sidescrollers, and it never happened.
It just took a really long time to get here. And I hope that it continues, you know. But I guess we'll see. You know, again, you got to take everything with a grain of salt. I've been through situations where I felt like people were being nice to me, and then I get stabbed in the back, and then I get treated like dirt. I just hope that doesn't happen for the millionth time. It would be nice.
Just because you're an autistic fuck and you can't figure out how to read a room or how to treat people doesn't mean John or Howard or Panda. Well, I mean, if Panda was getting dick down while driving your car, as long as she came home to make Den on time, that's on you. That sounds like a transaction. That's what it really sounds like. Okay, you can use my car to go to work and then go off to your side piece. But as long as you're home for dinner and the clothes are washed and the house is clean, I'm okay with it. If you're okay with sharing your pussy, then that's on you. But then again, you weren't doing nothing with it anyway, so was it really your pussy? It makes you think. If you're not actually engaged in a relationship with a woman, is she really your woman? Huh. Nah, see, she belonged to the streets. You share that. And that's what that was. She came home and she did her wifely duties and whatever. She was a good maid. She was a good maid, but she had needs. She had cravings. And you weren't able to man up for that. So someone else had to do it. So I may be being harsh by saying she belonged to the street, but she damn sure didn't belong to you. You were sharing that. And that's just something you're just going to have to live with.
Nice. It would be a nice change in my life to actually be treated with some dignity and respect for once.
It would be nice to be treated with dignity and respect. Something that you know, two things you know nothing about. Oh shit, like working your way around a woman's body, but you want to be treated with dignity and respect. Oh, that's so pathetic.
Take everything with a grain of salt. I've been through situations where I felt like people were being nice to me, and then I get stabbed in the back, and then I get treated like dirt. I just hope that doesn't happen for the millionth time. It would be nice. It would be a nice change in my life to actually be treated with some dignity and respect for once, because I reciprocate dignity and respect. If I'm treated with dignity and respect, I will give that back to you.
You don't even know what dignity and respect is. Hence the reason why you've never gotten it. So how would you be able to reciprocate something to someone that you yourself are admitting that you've never had? Oh, great mysteries of the fucking Snorty universe. That makes no sense whatsoever, Phil. If no one has ever shown you any act of kindness, how would you know how to express that kindness to other people? This is your words, not mine. You've actually said this. You've actually said that you've gone unappreciated. You never felt like people valued you or whatever. So how would you know how to value others then? You might want to leave subjects like that alone. You don't have enough practice. Just some solid advice. Don't speak on shit like that because you don't know what you're talking about. Clearly. There's things out of your range. There's things out of a lot of our ranges, myself included. You shouldn't speak on stuff you know nothing about. Just a piece of advice.
And I don't feel like I get that fair treatment. Maybe I will now. I don't know. I guess we'll see.
That's pathetic.
And now here's the other thing as well. Okay? Cordy the Kid just did a super chat. And
was it fair treatment, Phil, when they told you to drop your in-house pedophile? And you still fought against them for like 20 plus minutes? Was that fair? Was that fair treatment, Phil? I'd love to know. I'd love to know.
I want to address this directly. Cordy the Kid says, every dono makes detractor seed. As much as that's true,
the fuck? Whatever.
I've always said this, and I will stick to my guns. Please listen. This is very important. Do not contribute to my content to make my detractors cry.
Now, we all know how hypocritical this is because what's he say now? Let's hit the fucking tips goal. Let's hit the fucking king's coffers or whatever. Let's felt the detractors. See how quickly we were able to turn our morals and values around that quickly? For any of you out there, you have the free right to say whatever you want about me, about DSP, about the detractors. Say what the fuck you want. Don't ever sit there and come to me, though, with this bullshit about this dude has pride. Don't do that. Don't do that. I mean, you're welcome to say it, but like, if I don't give you an answer, it's because I don't answer the silly shit. I don't answer silly shit. You know what I'm saying? I'll let whoever it is who deals with my comment section deal with that shit. This dude doesn't have a lick of pride. Because anybody with pride does not turn around on their word or on their views and shit or on their values, if they have any, like this. It's just not something that happens.
Do not do that. I only ask that you contribute to my content if you like my content and you want to see it continue. That's it. Because I want to earn your support. I don't want it to be, oh, look, I want to stick it to a bunch of degenerates. It's all well and good, but I want people to support me for me. You understand? Not this Neil Druckmann bullshit where with Last of Us 2, oh, every time you buy Last of Us 2, you're sticking to the haters. No. I don't want...
You still got a hard-on for that guy? Damn, you look at me years ago. Well, you're the Gouty Viper. You sit on everything, so okay, I got you. You still thinking about that ass clown? Fucking A. Didn't Anita Skarheesian already fuck him up enough already? Shit, damn near lost his... Well, people thought he would damn near lose his studio over fucking Last of Us 2 if it wasn't for the fact that the TV show did incredibly well. Unless, you know, season 2 of that shit fucks up, or whatever the next season I should be. of that fucks up, then we'll see. But what the fuck? You still worried about that guy? That dude doesn't have nearly the amount of respectability he once had. Like, he fell so fucking hard. And whatever.
I want to fall to that level of degeneracy. I want people to come here and say, support Darksydephil because he makes good content. And you know, we like him as a person. That's why I want to see that content continue, so I will support it.
How do you like someone as a person if that person doesn't even know who they are as a person? It must be another conundrum that I'm throwing out there. My fault. My fault. That's a level of deep thought that DSP is just not capable of.
That's why I want you to come by. So, according to the kid, if you literally never support me ever again, that's fine. Okay? But that's my mentality. That's my mantra. I don't want people supporting me to stick it to my haters at all.
Stick it to my haters. Now, keep in mind, stick it to my haters in like a month is going to turn into felting his haters. Just saying. Any man who doesn't have principle doesn't have values. Any man who doesn't have values doesn't believe anything. Any man who doesn't believe anything is no man.
In fact, it's this simple. Don't talk about the haters at all. Right? Don't talk about the haters at all. Just ignore them like they don't exist.
You mean like you just did for the last X amount of minutes? Good job, Phil.
Okay? Cool. So, according to the kid, thank you for that. So, by the way, yes, we will have some rewards here based on Jason's massive positive tip. But I gotta figure out what. We'll definitely do Gunner glasses, but a hat. Like, today I'm gonna start playing.
Oh, yeah. You were still whoring yourself out back in the day. You were still doing the vest, hat, and glasses shit gimmick back in the day. Yeah, I forgot about that. He says he's above all that now, but unless it fits, unless it fits into whatever narrative he's trying to push that day. But yeah, back then in July, early August, you were still whoring yourself out. I forgot about that a little bit.
With Blanca, and I haven't played with Blanca in a very long time. And for those who don't know, maybe you haven't ever watched me play Street Fighter. I tend to get very heated when I play Street Fighter. My blood pressure goes up a lot, and I get.
Maybe that's a medical issue. Maybe you should, like, you know, take medication for that shit or something. Maybe you should see a doctor, Phil. Maybe you should get yourself a doctor, Phil. That was a nice play on words, actually. Anyway, maybe you should get a blood test or something then, dude. Like, you know, you could test for shit like that.
Agitated if I fight certain people who kind of cheese their way through matches and stuff.
You get agitated? What? Let me play that back. I get agitated if I fight certain people? Good screenshot.
You haven't ever watched me play Street Fighter. I tend to get very heated when I play Street Fighter. My blood pressure goes up a lot, and I get agitated if I fight certain people who kind of cheese their way through matches and stuff. I can't go crazy.
Basically, anybody who can beat him. That's what he means.
All out playing Street Fighter. If we're gonna wear a hat, I have to find a hat that's like not an intrusive hat. It has to be like a lighter hat so it doesn't distract me. Plus, I get very sweaty when I play Street Fighter.
And yeah, that's the same guy who only bathes like once or twice a week. Keep that in mind. Ugh. That's crazy.
So we gotta figure that out, like what I can do that's not gonna be a detriment to me playing. Okay. Oh. See you later, Kyle. All right, so guys, last chance. If you'd like to talk about something, please tag me in the chat, or if any contributions come in, last chance to get shouted out because we have to get started soon with gameplay. But I need to blow my nose. First time the entire stream, I have to blow my nose. So that's an improvement over the last couple days, right? Okay. Perhaps I should have paused the recording there, but I'm not that smart. So instead, I muted everything and blocked the camera. And now you had like a minute of dead air. Sorry about that. I received a $2.50 tip from Chocoboko.
Oh,
I'd like to add my 2 cents. I originally found you off of This Is How You Don't Play videos. I thought one day I would check your streams out to see it live and then leave. Turns out I ended up liking you as an entertainer. The best compliment I can give you is you're a guy that I can tune in for a chill stream and not cringe at your content. Well, there you go.
Whatever. Here, I'll give you a better example. You want to know who's the fucking, who fell for the pignosis super crazy and shit? Not super crazy. That was just a play on words. But was super crazy on how they fucking fell for the sauce and all this bullshit, and ended up losing. Allegedly, he lost like $120,000+ in a year. because he was donating to Phil. Brightside Viking. Now, just in case you guys don't know the lore, Brightside Viking started off as a Medicare fan. I think he still is a Medicare fan, to be honest with you. Or Brightside Bob is what Medicare was going around at that time, I'm pretty sure. Well, Brightside Viking, which is a play off the Brightside Bob thing, he was paying homage to Medicare, basically, was a fan of him. He watched some of his DSP shit, and he went over, and after a while, he eventually went over to DSP's content to troll him. And oh shit. Brightside Viking basically developed early stages of troll remorse and became a fan, right? And then after that, he ends up being like, over time, he ends up being like DSP's like top donator for years, right? Then he ends up becoming his top capo, essentially consigliere, to be honest with you, if you want to use mafia terms and shit. So he wasn't even the underboss, he was above that. Yes, consigliere I'm pretty sure is what that position is. And he was a confidant, like he used to talk to DSP behind the scenes and all this bullshit, this, that, and the third, all that shit, man. So when Brightside Viking got the fucking Blood Eagle treatment later on, after Blood of the Blood Gods failed, and fucking Kiwi Farm, and he went to war with Kiwi Farms over that dumb shit, and then eventually ended up getting accepted over there. Like, people on Kiwi Farms actually, some of the people, not all of them, but some of the people that this guy either threatened or may have made threats to adjacently were the very people who gave him sanctuary on Kiwi Farms. At the end of it all, after DSP backstabbed him. Oh, that's so crazy. But I'm getting past the point. Brightside Viking is one of the perfect examples of that whole, oh, I used to be a troll or a fan of trolls, and then I came back, and then I became a fan. And I honestly think that's where DSP actually gets that narrative from. He gets it from Brightside Viking. Because he literally fucked him over for no reason. You know what I'm saying? Like, DSP wasn't going to lose his Twitch, and Brightside Viking wasn't going to be part of that reason for it happening. But he fucking slit his throat, gave him the Blood Eagle treatment either which way to save his own ass, and nothing came about it. But keep in mind, this is the part that people forget. People forget that at this time, Brightside Viking was in between jobs, so he wasn't even making the type of money that he was making, and more importantly, he couldn't donate the amount of money that he was used to donating. So what is it that I've told you? If you don't have a purpose, you're just in the way. Brightside Viking wasn't the head guy no more. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't the top build guy no more for DSP's fucking WWG fucking wrestling fucking program they had over there or whatever the fuck. So he eventually lost his spot. You know what I'm saying? And that's when fucking Swaggins thought he could come in and get all the same accolades and amenities that Brightside Viking had. He never got it. Actually, no one really has. No one's ever gotten as close to the DSP as Brightside Viking has. So he can at least say that. He at least has that accolade, I suppose. But interesting bit of history, to be honest with you.
And certainly I'm not saying that there aren't cringe moments, right? There are absolutely cringe moments in my content. I will openly admit that. But I'm not all about that. Like, I'm not a cringe creator. I'm not here to make cringe content and then somehow turn that into monetization and stuff. You know what I mean? I just want to hang out. I mean, that's how this all started. Again, literally, the first day I made content for YouTube, it was just a silly thing. I put a camera on a tripod in front of me. I pointed at a TV, and I played Star Wars, The Force Unleashed, and I was doing a Star Destroyer thing, trying to grab a Star Destroyer with my Force powers, and it doesn't work. And I'm just showing how it doesn't work, and I'm commentating over how bad it is. And I'm thinking, this is silly. It's a silly little thing. I'll toss the video. I'll get like 10 views, right? That's all I ever wanted to do. Just hang out, share some gameplay, share my thoughts on a game with an audience. And did I ever think in 2008 that anyone would give two shits about my opinions or my gameplay or anything? No. Here we are 16 years later. Daily, I get hundreds to thousands of people watching my content from all over the globe, enjoying what I do, chilling, hanging out. I've turned it into a living. People support it. They want to see it continue. It's something crazy. It's something amazing.
It's something pathetic that you sat there and allowed yourself to be devalued because this is the only recognition that you've ever gotten and you were too scared to go off and do anything else. On top of the fact that the self-realization, excuse me, that he had fucked up his every relationship that he's ever had in IRL, in the FGC, and on YouTube and Twitch, that even if he was to get a job outside of this, there's nobody that could hook him up. There's nobody that could give him a leg up through just having a connection or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like he was literally out there in the abyss on his own. He didn't leave content creation because one, he made so much money doing it that he couldn't do he wouldn't be able to get that money doing anything else. But it wasn't even content creation, it was begging. It was always begging. It was always begging. Begging has been the driving force, from begging for money on PayPal to begging for fucking for begging for subs, for begging for views, for begging for people to share his content or whatnot. Like so on and so forth. But the whole concept of Darksydephil's air quotes business is completely and utterly built on and driven by begging. That's it. He doesn't produce anything of value. He never did. It was just outright begging for the sake of it. He convinced people that he had value and constantly stayed on top of them to make sure that they never forgot it. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? How do you how embarrassing is it to say that you're making a living begging? You know what I'm saying? When you look at his streams, they're shit. When you look at his views on YouTube, they're shit. How is it that he's making enough money to fucking sustain himself and his family? By begging. I don't even know why that's even an argument.
Something unintentional, and it's something so unique and lucky that it happened that way, because I don't think...
But that's not even true either, because put your fucking little hoobie, your fucking little gouty hook down. Because in truth, when he got his ass fired from the helicopter company because he was putting so much emphasis on YouTube, what did he do? He had to beg the YouTube to click ads and shit. He had to beg the YouTube to fucking share his videos and do all that other silly shit. Then he ends up getting bopped off that out of the AdSense program, goes to Blip, fucks that shit up in like a month and a half and whatnot, then has to go back to YouTube, begs Hutch for a job and shit, even though he was just beefing with Hutch not too long before that, right? And then everything cascaded from there. And then if you go, I have to go back a bit, because he was on Machinima, or he at least had an opportunity to work with Machinima before that, but because he didn't want to do what they wanted him to do, what was a requirement of being in their partnership program, he basically fucked off on that too. So he sat there and fucked himself on Machinima twice, basically. Like, fucking A, dude. Fucking ridiculous, man. It's absolutely ridiculous. So let's speak on something that we spoke about briefly earlier about jealousy or whatnot. I don't think it's that people are jealous of I don't think people are jealous of DSP's position. I think people are really, if you are jealous of anything, you're jealous of the amount of chances that he gets. Because there's very few times in life that you're going to get this many opportunities to fuck up. You know what I mean? I think that's where, if anybody's really jealous or envious of anything, and I'm not accusing anybody of anything, if that was a thing, it has to be that. That makes a whole lot more sense than saying, oh, you're jealous that DSP can play games for a living. He doesn't play games for a living. He plays games poorly for a living. DSP is ridiculed and mocked and humiliated repeatedly on a daily basis for what he does. You got game publishers that are dumbing down games because they look at him and be like, you see this autistic retard? He can't navigate our games. Our games are too hard. So we have to set all these we have to literally work harder to set all these little boundaries up to make it feel like he's accomplishing something to keep pushing the game forward. That's what it is. Current games are an insult to most gamers because of the fact that they've been watered down the way they are. And Darksydephil is one of those reasons. Is he the main reason? No, but he's one of the reasons. He's one, and on top of that, it's mainly the developers. You got people now who get into game design who never were good at those harder games anyway because they were never committed to it. Or maybe they just weren't smart enough to do it. I don't know. But they weren't committed enough, so they dumbed games down. You see that shit with Call of Duty, for example, where you got these ass clown developers and shit who are like, oh, I don't like recycling kill streaks. So you can only get your streaks in one life and then you have to die off and that's it. That's fucking stupid as shit. And eventually they're going to change it. But that's dumb as fuck because I'll hit all my streaks and then I'll purposely let myself get killed. And then I'll let all those streaks fly. And then I'll go ahead and get my next set of streaks in that same life and then do it again. Because they never thought that far ahead. You're so worried about UAVs and shit. Shoot them bitches down. Whatever. Either way. Either way. You know what I mean? So that's one of the overall problems with gaming in general. But DSP has contributed to that. You know what I mean? So trust me, he's not offering anything to anybody. There's nothing to be jealous about. Like I said, I can understand. Because like I said, there's very few times in life where you can make mistakes and you can rebound from them. especially the same mistake multiple times, and somehow he's able to do it. But trust me, it's out of pity. People feel sorry for him. People pity him. You never want to be looked at in life as someone that's pitied, or to be felt sorry for. That's not something you should strive for. That's not something you should depend on. That's literally what he does. That's literally what he does. And over the years, with his decline in views, interest, subs, and all that bullshit, it proves it. And that's the reason why he's more and more frustrated. Because he's like, what more can I lose? I don't have Twitch anymore, or I don't have monetization on Twitch, I should say. YouTube, he's a fucking joke. He can barely hit 1,000. Shit, most days he can barely pull 800. You know what I'm saying? He has no friends. He has none of that shit. What else are you guys going to take away from me? No one took anything away from you. You did yourself. Sorry, let me reword that. No one took anything away from you that you didn't already throw away. Everything you lost is because you didn't value it. So you didn't deserve to have it. In the story. And that's probably the hardest thing that he has to come to the realization with. He has to live with. He has to deal with. That's probably the hardest thing that he has to go with. And he's not man enough to, he's not a man at all, but he's not man enough to admit that I did this to myself. I brought this upon myself. And even when he has those moments of clarity, if you want to call it that, to where, okay, I fessed up to it, yada, 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 now let it all go away and let me restart the clock. It's too late. You've already had a bunch of resets. You've already used a bunch of cheat codes. It's all done now. Where you're at now is how you got to play it out. And that's what scares him, I think, more than anything. Is that there aren't going to be any second chances, or third chances, or 10th chances, or whatever the fuck. There isn't going to be a renaissance. There isn't going to be a revolution. There isn't going to be that one more shot at the brass ring, if you will. All that's gone. Now you just get to sit around and exist. I think that scares him more than anything. It scares Rich more than anything.
It would have happened at any other time. You know what I'm saying? Like, at all. So...
And that's why both of those ass clowns, it Wings too, that's why they keep reliving their past. Because they know none of them have a future. That's a very bleak and nihilistic thing to say, but it's true though. I'm a pragmatist. That's a very true statement.
Yeah. I'm glad you feel that way. This is not an orchestrated event to try to print money like a lot of other people do, right? It's not milking. There's no milking going on here. We talked about milking yesterday. I think we had enough milking. We don't have to talk about that again.
Alrighty. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. DSP, as usual, has proven himself to be an unworthy opponent, because of course he is. Yeah, that's it. A lot of shit to tackle and whatnot. A lot of hopes and dreams and aspirations that he had. A lot of things he had riding on this Kino Casino deal. And at the current time, by the time you guys see this, I think most of the fallout of the Kino Casino thing would have come about in that in their latest excursion, and all the nonsense that happened with that, and all the shit that got revealed during that trip. And holy fuck, bro, I don't want to spoil it for you, but I'm sure a lot of people will be down in the comment section and speaking on it or whatever, or at least some people. But let's go ahead and just give me some final thoughts, and then I will let you guys go. The situation with DSP really comes down to the fact that he had high hopes riding on Kino Casino and on the internet as a whole, that he was finally going to be redeemed, if you will. He was really hoping that his detractors, trolls, haters, critics will be looked at as the animals that he perceives us to be and whatnot, and that people would give him a real chance, not realizing that it didn't matter. It was going to be fleeting. Eventually, he was going to fuck around and find out. DSP has an incredibly short shelf life with people because he doesn't value people. It's all about what they can do for him. And once they've done it, if they can't keep doing it to the velocity or to the degree that he wants or needs them to do it, they're useless. End of story. Can't treat people like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, people are here to be used, but not misused, if that makes sense. And DSP never learned that lesson. And because he feels like he's been mistreated, he's been treated like he was treated unfairly, and so on and so forth, he keeps toting the line that, oh, well, whatever I've done to other people, they deserved it because it happened to me. Or they should have told me. I didn't understand. You can't blame me. If they really felt a certain type of way, they should have told me something. We live in a day and age where you don't have time to sit there and fucking spell it out for everybody over every little goddamn thing. If I don't, for example, if I don't fuck with you, I don't fuck with you. I don't have to explain myself to you. I don't owe you nothing. You take that shit and you just move with it. End of story. You don't have to like everybody. You don't have to be cool with everybody. You don't have to agree with everybody. You know what I'm saying? And even with me saying I don't fuck with you doesn't mean I don't have nothing against you. It just means I don't fuck with you. It is what it is. Like, take that shit and keep it moving. If you get sensitive about that shit, that speaks to you, not me. Just keep it pushing. It is what it is. So it's an example like that. And that's something the DSP can't come to terms with. Why people don't like him. Why people won't give him a chance. It's my detractors' fault. It's that. Stop. It's old. It's lame. It's embarrassing. You know what I'm saying? People would be more open to him if he would be willing to take some real responsibility. But he won't. He's still that spiteful little bitch that you saw at the end of the Craig interview. And that's all he's ever going to be marked for. And he's deserved it. He's done everything, and I think he's done everything in his power to earn it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening in. I very much appreciate it, and I will catch you guys for the next broadcast, whenever that may be. Hopefully sooner than later. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Snort Report. This is DSP News. Always late, never breaking. Unreliable coverage that you can't count on. Oh, yes! A GTG Network of Productions. For the Snort Report, as well as SnortBucks Coffee Company, the best beverage company, Hard Snorts Gin and Tonic, and Tim Snortons. I've been your host / anchor, GTG, and I'm signing off. Take care of yourselves, people. Later.